Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan. And today we bring you the Tottenham News Bulletin. A bit more of a relaxed show today. Go through the comments, go through the news. I was going to say the news. We're not picking bogeys. I meant the news. And then we'll get you guys on to come on and have your say as well. The link will be put up in the community section in about half an hour's time. So, look, Jack, how are you keeping, my man? It's Friday, baby.
Yeah, Dave, it's kind of a bit of a slower news day, but at the same time, huge news being announced in the case of, obviously, finally Spurs have given the official announcement, everybody, for Richarlison. We're going to talk about that. But apart from, maybe the big signings that Parachichi are getting kind of through the door, a bit of a slower news day. So everybody that does want to come on, you're really just free to chat about whatever you like. You can talk about how excited you are about Richarlison, whether you have some doubts or, maybe some, hope for Longley that might be coming in. Spence perhaps is also coming in this weekend. So really, I would just say it's a free-for-all for whatever you guys would like to talk about. And like David said, everybody, for all the fan show members who have that fan show membership, the link will be in your community section in 30 minutes.
100%. And look, guys, we're going to show you what we'll be talking about, and then you can put your thoughts in, as always, as we go along, and we will bring them up on screen. Tottenham officially announced for Richarlison. Tottenham rival West Ham for Jesse Lingard. Spence deal is very, very close, according to some reports. Tottenham signed Josh Keeley and Tyrell Ashcroft, which we'll be going a little bit into as well. And then Tottenham are the biggest spenders so far this summer. So that's exactly what we will be getting through, everybody. Now, look, we'll just go through the comments, make sure everybody is okay after such a hectic week. Actually a hectic few weeks of transfers. Dark Song G is in the building. Big up, Dark Song G. Good to see you, my man. Been so positive all throughout last season, and the guys getting these just rewards with the transfers we're making. Says we are really serious in the transfer market for the first time ever, which I love. Could you imagine if the two Dons bring in 8 to 10 players this window and 2 to 3 in January? My God, we are going to be scary to face. Yeah, Dark Sun G, how's your outland? Is he scared about the transfers we're making as a Liverpool fan? Is he slightly worried? It would be interesting to know, because I know my friends are. But do let me know. I mean, look, 8 to 10, it's only something every Spurs fan could have imagined. We were told, and it was by Alistair Gold, probably expect about 6 in. But at the end of the day, every Spurs fan knew that this squad needed to be, bring in players that are good enough to get into the first 11, but also add competition to this squad. And the fact that we've already done, 5 signings so early, the fact that we've done these signings so early and we're still leaving ourselves another 7-8 weeks to operate in this window is a position Spurs fans have never really been in before, and long may it continue, because getting a lot of this business done early, it means now we can sit back and analyze and get the right players in. It seems to me that we've gone and got the targets that we really wanted this summer so far, and now we can kind of sit back, analyze the market, and bring in what we can. Look, I know Bastoni was a first choice, Gavardia, but it doesn't look like they're going to happen. But look, apart from that, I think we've more or less got in the signings that we want to make. But big up, Dark Song G. Luis Dante says we got the Brazilian national team number 9 playing with the England national team number 9 in the same side. Is that a first? Dark Song G, you're a stat man. Let us know, my man. Can you confirm that? Is it a first, buddy? Big yourself up. SH Spurs 1 says, I really, really, really hope this is fake news. I think
maybe he's talking about Lingard.
Yeah, it's on the Lingard talk. Look, we will get into it, my man. Mark says Lingard talk is put out by his agent to get more money from West Ham. Not going to happen. Not needed. Not a bad take on it whatsoever. Big up, Mark. Hope you're keeping well, my man.
Legend.
RAI says big up, David and Jack. I will busy at my job right now, bro. Sorry, I will re-watch later on.
Good, my man.
Big up, RAI. No worries. We don't want
that.
anybody to get sacked, my man. We don't want anyone to lose their job, brother. CX5931 says Wink's not going to Everton anymore, apparently, because Fat Frank did some due diligence. Yeah, we touched on this last night. I mean, I was saying, look, when I first woke up, I thought it was April Fool's Day, and then I was sitting there kind of laughing to myself. I'm like, due diligence? I mean, look, I like journalists, like, they keep me entertained over the transfer window and stuff like that. I'm not going to sit here and put them down. But when I seen something like due diligence put out, I'm just sitting there like, no wonder why they get some of the hatred that they do get. I mean, honestly, there's no due diligence needed. All you have to do is watch him in one game That's it. There's no actual
I think
due
it's just a
diligence.
fancy word for saying watching him play, Dave. Due diligence is just a fancy word for just watching
No.
Winks play, you know,
What
essentially.
due diligence is, Jack, is they can't come out and say Lampard doesn't want Winks because he is shit. That they cannot say that.
It's a
So they
fancy
have
way
to
of saying
put in
that.
words. Yeah, that's what it is. It's exactly what it is. Big up, Mick Hermanot. Good to see you in the house, my man. Big yourself up, brother.
Wow.
Dark Song G says Richarlison really looks good in our Spurs shirt. Yes, he does, my man.
He does.
Yes, he does. He wears it very well. And look, I'm absolutely buzzing. I cannot wait to see Richarlison in action in a Tottenham jersey. I really, really like this guy. Really, really like him. And I just have a sneaky suspicion you'll see his best goals and assists to date in his career under Antonio Conte in this Tottenham team. And this guy will be coming here to put his name in the papers alongside Son and Kane. In fact, I think it was Roberto Carlos and the real Ronaldo, the R9. I think they even came out, you know, they were praising this signing. But interestingly, they also said that Son is better than Haaland for C. So that's very interesting words from them. But big up Dark Song G. Jack, anything you want to say, Dark Song G?
That was pretty surprising words at the end there, but Richarlison is going to be looking very good in that Spurs shirt, you know, Dark Sun G. I mean, you know, he's big, strong, tall, you know, he's exactly what you're looking for to, you know, to rep that shirt, especially since some of them really do look like kind of scuba diving gear, you know, kind of wetsuits, you know, kind of one. So you want someone like a Richarlison to at least make that shocking kit, you know, the second and third kit look a little bit better. I think he'll make it look a little bit better, Dark Sun G, but the home kit, he's going to make it look absolutely clean, my man. Pick up Dark Sun G.
Big up, Dark Sun G, brother. Really appreciate the support, my man. Top man. Adrian Schrocker's in the house. Big up, Adrian. Adrian, big up, my man. Remember that advert? Big yourself up, brother. The Spursy Italian, my man. I did get your message on Instagram, and I will get back to you as soon as this show is finished, my man. Big yourself up, the Spursy Italian. Welsh Gal says, oh, yes, big up, lads. Spurs, the only way is up. Exactly. It's very exciting times for all of us Spurs fans out there. Tottenham Goal says, big up, lads. I'll be on later. Big up, Dermot, my man. Good to hear that.
See you soon, brother.
Good to hear that. The Spurs Italian says, big up, mate. Looking forward to the stream while I finish working. Richarlison will make the people around him more shit housery, and we need it. And you know what? Just quickly to touch on this, I won't spend too long, but what I will say is, look, Tottenham have been way too nice. Forever since I've been supporting Spurs, maybe up until the Pochettino era, but then you even go after the Pochettino era up until now, we've been lightweight in midfield. We've always had that soft tag labelled against us. And with the likes of Romero, Richarlison, Højbjerg, Bissouma, Skip, Bentancur, you know, that tag is gone. Even you want to go up front, you've got Kane, Kulu, you know, Son can handle himself now as well. We're just going to be absolutely nasty to play against. And that's what I'm most excited to see. There's no longer going to be bullied and played around, off the pitch by these small teams because we can't get a grip in midfield. We don't have any physicality. Now we're going to be one of the most hated teams to play against, in my opinion. Teams will not enjoy playing against Tottenham. Nasty, shithousery, strong, physical, fit is another one. Fit. It's going to be absolutely huge. Big up the Spursy Italian. Big up Chris Ennis. He says, yo, Dave and Jack, what's up, bros? He says,
well,
are you happy with Richarlison? He's a great signing. I'm absolutely buzzing. Jack, are you happy with Richarlison?
Of course we are, Chris. I mean, how could you not be? Like you said, way better than Jesus. You know, the guy has been playing for dross teams, you know, his whole career and, you know, has still, you know, maintained a pretty good reputation from amongst, you know, most football fans. We're even, you know, catching all these clips of all these Arsenal fans, you know, back in the day saying they would rather have Richarlison than Jesus. Now they're switching the narrative, Chris. So you couldn't be happy, my man. You couldn't be happier. Big up, my man. Good to see you in the chat.
Big up, Chris. That's 100% true. AFTV, what is it? Robbie and Lee Gunner. It's absolutely hilarious.
They should call it the script changers, Dave. The narrative changers. You know, they just change the script however they please, honestly. It's actually quite impressive. You know, they must just have, you know, huge erasers, Dave, because they're just changing the script at every which way.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. To be fair, if we signed someone else but Richarlison, I'd probably try and swing it. But, you know, look.
Even I've admitted, Dave, you know, when it comes to like Eriksen, I said, guys, don't listen to me on my opinion on Eriksen. I've been all over the place here. Just go to someone else. Don't even listen to me. They're not even humble enough to do that, Dave. They're not even humble enough to do that. They're going to pretend, you know, like they didn't just say the opposite 3 days ago. It's quite sad. It's really quite sad.
I can't wait. It's going to be one entertaining season. Just get to abuse them all day long. It's brilliant. Scott Hynam says, Big up Flat Cap crew and all. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Scotty boy. Good to see you in the building, my man. Robbie Keane has come to join us as well. Says congrats and welcome, Richarlison. Big up, Robbie Keane. Absolutely love it. Look, you're probably not the real one, but in the off chance you might be, get in contact. Come on and do an interview on the channel, my man. Zoe says, come on, you Spurs. Big up.
Zoe.
Peter Morris says, who do you want next? Defenders. Just defenders for me. Someone at centre-back, someone at left-sided centre-back. I've explained why over the last few days. But for me, Peter, definitely defenders, my man. And we have John Ellishaw says, glad we are all getting players in, but we need to get rid of some as well. No, 100%, John. But look, I'm not surprised we're struggling to offload players. I said this was going to happen all along. Who wants Ndombele? Bad loan spell at Lyon, massive wages. Tottenham want to sell rather than loan out. No one's going to take the gamble on the guy. Absolutely nobody. You look at Lo Celso. He went to Villarreal. Okay, he had an okay loan spell. I wouldn't say he ripped up trees. I mean, others would, but I wouldn't say he did. I mean, again, struggling to get rid of. Harry Winks, struggling to gain interest. I know there's media reports out there. Oh, there's loads of interest in Harry Winks. No, there's not. No manager looks at their midfield and says, do you know what? Harry Winks will solve my problems in the middle of the park. No manager across the Premier League will do that. Look, maybe someone in Spain might be sucking into it, but I'm telling you now, we are really struggling to offload our players, and that's purely because of how much money we spent on them, the big wages we gave them, and how crap they've been. Nobody is going to take that gamble, especially after the pandemic where money has been very, very tight. People are going to be more due diligent with their money. In fact, actually, Jack, that's how you word it, isn't it? More due diligent with their money. That's how you
they're not going to take risks, Dave. They're not going to take risks with it. And, you know, most clubs, you know, have, 30 million, 40 million at least less, you know, you would probably say in their transfer budget. Well, like most Spanish clubs, what do they probably spend close to around 40 to 50 million? Maybe some of those, you know, mid-size, you know, Spanish clubs like Valencia and whatnot. Nowadays, like the clubs like Valencia, Betis, Sevilla, Dave, they can barely spend like 30 million, you know, in a whole transfer window. They have no money at all. They're looking at, you know, free transfers as well as very, very cheap options. You know, the likes of Winks, Lo Celso, who we're going to try to sell for 20 million. Like, it's just not happening. Like, we're just going to have to accept a lower price or we're going to struggle to sell them, like you said.
Yeah, 100% we are. And look, I'm not surprised. I think the club might be a bit shocked, though. I do. I think they were probably expecting to get some interest by now. When Bonner says he has held the shirt up yet, piss off Arsenal. Yeah, he's held it up today, my man. It's done. Confirmed by Tottenham. Official. No more of this from Fabrizio Romano, who usually, look, when the here we go comes, it's confirmed. But for those who do like to wait for the official announcement by the club, it has been given today, Wayne. Big yourself up. That's
He's
why
also celebrating, Dave, 12 months as an elite member as well. 12 months with the elite membership on top of that. Bueno, honestly, my man, you've been supporting us for so long, my man. Been supporting us for so long.
Get on and have a chat with us someday, Wayno. Get on and have a chat with us, my man. Big yourself up. Have a pint of Guinness, you know, to celebrate the Richarlison signing, my man. Big yourself up. Clement says, it's great being a Spurs supporter. I'm loving it. Be careful with saying I'm loving it. McDonald's used that slogan, and I'm afraid Ronald McDonald comes sprinting by Jack's screen. So be careful using that, Clement. Big yourself up, my man. Gwen Evans says, I think it's a good signing. He will flourish around better players around him. Well, I do hope so, Gwen. I think it's a great signing. I think, look, you look back at Vincent Janssen, Vinicius, Llorente. Richarlison is much closer to the quality of Harry Kane than what any of them ever was. So, and it's been a long neglected problem at Tottenham, finding a player that you can trust to score your goals if Harry Kane is out injured or if you want to rest him. And Richarlison is that man. Ian Ferguson says Paratici got himself a Brazilian with no context needed for that.
Big up, Ian. Also, Dave, over in Cincinnati, Ian has his own Brazilian that I think just scored a hat trick the other day to like beat New York or whatever it was. So honestly, big up to the Cincinnati team. Big up.
Yeah, big up, my man. Big up.
He's got his own Brazilian. He's got two Brazilians. He's got two Brazilians.
They're not quite like the Brazilians they were when I grew up watching them. Cafu, Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos, Ronaldinho. Changed a little, but I still like Brazilians. Cooper says, big up, boys. Come on, you Spurs. Thanks for the stream. Bring on the trophies. Big up, Cooper, my man. Look, no need to thank us. We absolutely love doing this. We absolutely love it. Big up, Cooper. And you know what? We love it even more when we're doing well. John Stokes sent me a picture of the jersey, Jack. He got the third kit, you know the one, right? It looks like, for me, it looks like a wetsuit. But with the picture John sent of it, it actually doesn't look as bad as
Yeah.
what it did when the first image come out. But he really
I think the
likes
home
it,
kit
and he
is
said-
similar. I think the home kit is. I don't know, Dave. I don't know if I'm going to go that far with the second and third kit, but I think the home kit is a similar story where like the way the photo was framed, the way that the filters were put on, sort of made the kit look worse than it actually is. And maybe it's a similar story with the second and third kit. I'll be frank, I don't think it is. I think it's just with the first kit. I think the first kit actually looks better than people think. But I don't know about the second and third kit. I'll yet to be convinced. But just until we see them, wearing it on the pitch, then I'll make my decision. Big up, John.
100%. And look, maybe first question of the day from John. And guys, let us know in the comments. Would you rather Lingard or Harry Winks? Put it in the comments and let us know. Great comment, John. He says, afternoon, Dave and Jack. Come on, you Spurs. Wouldn't be a bad idea to have Lingard rather than Harry Winks. So everybody, let us know your answers in the chat. Big up, John Boy. Mark Spurs says, big up, boys. Loving this transfer window. Come on, you Spurs. I think we all are. I think we're all having an absolute ball, to be honest with you. My man, big up, Mark. Flash Arrow says, hello, boys. Early signings are great. There will be more signings. Woo! I think so as well, my man. Big up. Dan Davenport says, yo, Harris Army, and hey, young Jack. Big up, Danny boy.
Big
Hope
up,
you're
Dan.
keeping well, my man. Red says, the best transfer market for Tottenham ever. Yeah, it is, my man. And look, I don't know with Red. I presume you're probably an Arsenal, Liverpool, or United fan. If you are a Spurs fan, I do think you should change your name. But if you're not, look, unlucky. We're owning this transfer window, so sit back and enjoy it. Daniel Larson is in the house. Says, big up, boys. Have an awesome feeling about Richarlison playing for our club. Could not agree more, Daniel. Good to see you in the house, my man. Daniel Hammett says, Lingard, I think could be good business. Adds to English quota, good debt across a few different positions, and it is West Ham version. Then he will contribute. We will see, though. Look, very big ass, but we will wait and see. Big up Derek Hutchinson as well. Mark H as well. Richarlison, son. And Derek Hutchinson. Good afternoon, Dave and Jack. Lingard, another Dele Alli. I wouldn't say quite another Dele Alli. Look, Lingard has had some terrible times off the pitch. Basically having to take over, minding his siblings and stuff like that at full time. He's had a bit of a tough time. And as well, look, it did affect his career at Man United. But after his loan spell at West Ham, United never really gave him another opportunity either. And I'm quite surprised about how bad they were last season. So, look, maybe he's a guy with a point to prove. Dark Son G says, my dad is rating our incomings for once. Also, Richarlison will have a better output because of the quality of our team. Calvert-Lewin, Kane, Gray, Son, Iwobi, Kulu. Come on, you Spurs. Gray and Son, Iwobi, and Kulu. And that's a very good point. Look, I actually made this point the other day. About Iwobi. A system trying to put balls in for Richarlison. I mean, that guy's an absolute idiot. He is the definition of an idiot. He doesn't care about football. He likes his appearance. He's got all the mad hair, and he makes sure his socks look nice and neat and everything else. That guy's an absolute clown. Look, Kulu levels above. Sonny levels above Damari Gray. Absolute. Look, I know some people like Damari Gray. For me, I think, again, another one that's overrated. I actually don't rate him whatsoever. And then Kane, it had a look, Calvert-Lewin. I mean, again, another player I think is severely overrated. But what I will say, Dark Son G, it's great to see your father actually recognizing and rating our signings.
Because he's scared now, Dark Sun G. That's why. It's because he's scared, the signings that Spurs are making. Normally he probably never talked about them because he wasn't really worried about what Spurs, are doing, down the road. And now he's very, very worried. You can tell Dark Sun G is getting a bit rattled. So I would just say, let him, just sit there in fear. Big up, Dark Sun G.
Big up, Dark Sun G, my man. Really do appreciate the support. We'll take another couple of comments and then we will crack on with the news because I know that's what everybody is here for. Franco Martini, good to see you in the house, my man. Big yourself up. Wayne Bonner, big up, my man. Really appreciate the support, Wayne. Says Arsenal are so desperate for a miracle they signed Jesus and it still won't help. Hope the camping trip went well, David. Wayne absolutely had a blast. Look, for me, when it comes to the camping, look, my old lad really does enjoy going away. He enjoys the camping. And look, so for me, it's good to get him away. Good to see him relax, put a smile on his face. And that's what it's all about for me at the end of the day. I really did enjoy it. It was very, very nice to get away, though, I have to say, my man. And look, when it comes to Gabriel Jesus, I mean, look, I've said this last night, Wayne. The guy cannot lead the attacking line. He wouldn't even lead a conga line at a wedding. Honestly, if you had him up front, you'd have 6 foot people standing all the way back behind him. It looked like a fucking train, my man. It's absolutely ridiculous. But when it comes to Gabriel Jesus, Pep Guardiola didn't want to play him striker. In fact, he opted to go without a striker, play him out wide. And that's because Jesus is not physical enough or doesn't have the nous, the football intelligence to be able to lead the line like Richarlison can. Richarlison can lead that line on his own. They got absolutely suckered into it again. Look, I have no doubt, like, they're going to say, oh, we didn't want Richarlison. He's not a first choice. He was. But then Pep Guardiola, he rang Mikel Arteta. He says, look, we're getting in Haaland, Alvarez, and Gabriel Jesus needs to go out and play first-team football ahead of the World Cup. Let's try and strike a deal. That's what happened there. Mikel Arteta done, again, being Pep Guardiola's side bitch. That's exactly what happened there.
Essentially.
Richarlison is better all round.
They're just hoping for miracles at this stage, Wayne. Just like you said, they signed a striker that's too scared to play striker. It just shows, the transfer policies that they have, my man. It's quite shocking. They're just looking for miracles at this stage. You're absolutely right. Big up, Wayne. Massive support today. Big up, Wayne. Good to have you in here.
Yeah, big up, Wayno. What an absolute legend, my man. Big up, Wayno. Enjoy your pint of Guinness. Like I said, get a Guinness into your brother. Dark Zone G says that Richarlison Spurs video was ace. Copa and Olympic.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, Dark Zone G.
It's a sick edit.
Is it?
It's a sick edit, Dark Sun G. I completely agree. Dave, they went over, the fact he's won the Copa America. He's won Olympic gold. He's scored, I think, close to, if not over 50 goals already in the Premier League. They were showing, some of his, just kind of, I don't know, just some of his epic moments, with Richarlison. It was a sick edit. Absolutely. Dark Sun G. Love it. And he looks good in the Spurs kit. Dark Sun G is liking the media today. He's proud of the Tottenham Hotspur official account. Big up.
I mean, look, every Spurs fan is proud. Every Spurs fan is waking up. We can't look. Usually I dread looking at the news because, like, we're going to be linked with players and never going to come here. But now you get excited. You're getting up. In fact, you're almost getting up half an hour early, getting that coffee into you to get yourself right, just so you can be there when the news starts coming out. It's absolutely incredible times. Dark Song G also says, normally we sell before we buy. For once, we buy before we sell. Again, actually a point that I actually forgot about. But
yeah.
Another point that everybody was very, very unhappy with. We always have to sell before we buy. What did I say in January? With getting out the 3 players we got out, the likes of Alli, Lascelles, and Dele, getting them off the wages for the short period of time, Alli off the wages permanently, we put ourselves in a position, plus the players we got out in the summer. I said this January, Jack, when I was calling the window a 9 out of 10. We're now in a position where we can now buy before we sell. And it seems to have turned out that way. And it's good to be in that sort of position as a Spurs fan. We're not used to being here. And if you want your targets, you have to act quickly on them. And that's what we've done. You've got to give us full credit.
I think when you buy before you sell, you can also get bullied a bit when it comes to, what you're able to get, after you sell, because the buying or the selling club, Dave, they know like what you just sold the player for. So if you sold Gio for 40 million, they know you're spending that 40 million on another player. So they know what, money you're working with. Whereas now, Dave, like we can, kind of bully teams with, sort of the money that we have, available. And it seems like that's exactly what Spurs are doing. Whereas before Dark Sun G, I think Spurs were actually really easy to manipulate when it came to deals. Like we were the ones that actually got pushed around. I know we used to think that Daniel Levy did all the pushing around, but if you ask me, I think it was that Daniel Levy was so tight and Steve Hitchen was so incompetent that genuinely we just were getting bullied in most negotiations. Like most clubs were just like, well, I know you only have 40 million to work with, Daniel, so that's not what we're taking. And it's now a much different story. It's much better out, Dark Sun G. Big up.
No, 100%. Big up, Dark Sun G, brother. Really do appreciate support. And a very, very good point there, my man. A very, very good point. He also says Bobo is so crap that he left Villarreal and is FA lot. Yeah, a free agent. Yeah, 100%. Look, I've said this about the guy so many times. I was delighted when we ripped up his contract. Spurs fans were saying, oh, Emerson's so bad. I would have rather kept Aurier. Oh, he's had a good season at Villarreal. He's pulling up trees. No, he's not. I went in and looked. He barely started. He came off the bench sometimes. And they didn't even renew his contract because he's that shit. His attitude is poor and he thinks he's made it. That's the problem. And look, am I surprised this is the way Aurier's career is ending up? No. I could see that happening at Tottenham Hotspur. You're playing at a big club and you can't even dedicate yourself enough to be able to pass the ball 5 bloody yards. You know, you can't dedicate yourself enough to stay switched on and make the right defensive decisions. Instead, he was making brain-dead, erratic decisions. And I'm just so glad because it backs me up on this idiot, this Bobo idiot. You know, at the end of the day, I've said it so long about the guy. He's crap. He's useless. Can't defend. Can't go forward. And then people are telling me, oh, I'd rather him than Emerson. No. Brought in Emerson. The defensive mistakes stop happening. We get top 4. It brings us up 4 league places. Emerson isn't the best, but he's better than Serge Aurier. And I'm not surprised his career went like this. Ndombele's career would go like that. Lo Celso's career would go like that. I said Alli's career would go like that if he didn't cop himself on. It's gone like that. And we had way too many of these players at the club with this sort of attitude. And that's why we were down in Europa Conference League. That's why we were going down. Because Steve Hitchen was bringing in absolute muppets. It was like, oh, we can't get anybody else. An agent has rang us. Let's bring them in. You know, and then we ended up with this sort of crap. And it'd be very interesting to see how many of these players from this sort of era actually go on to end up being a bit like Serge Aurier, where you're lounging around for clubs.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not surprised. I could see this one happening all day long. Could see it happening all day long. Some of these players have severe fucking attitude problems. Joseph, big up. Another great point by Dark Sun G. He's on bloody fire today. Someone called the fire engine, put him out. He's on fire. Big up, Dark Sun G. Joseph says, I'm excited for this season. So happy to see us moving like a big club.
Yeah.
Just a few more needed now. Big up you, man, every time. Woolwich are crying. Come on, you Spurs. Well, Jack, I'll let you take this one first, my man.
Yeah, I mean, Joseph, the Woolwich Wasters, you know, coined by Amir Sardar, someone who maybe, who knows, might be a guest appearance on the fan show today, Joseph. But yeah, my man, I think we're all absolutely buzzing for this season. We just can't, you know, wait even further. We're probably, you know, just itching just to get a bit of preseason action, in our system. I'm looking forward to it, Joseph, and especially seeing all these new signings, you know, with new kits on and everything. Conte, he has all these new toys to play with. You know, he has all the positions more or less kind of wrapped up, even though I think we need to get some slightly better signings in certain positions. At least, you know, Conte has all the players to work with now while he goes into preseason. It seems like mostly everyone's happy at this stage, or at least somewhat happy over at Spurs, and at least somewhat happy over in the department as well, or over at the board. I don't know, my man. Things are looking good, Joseph. Things are looking good. You should be buzzing.
Yeah, absolutely buzzing, my man. And look, like I said, you just got to take it from when Paratici came in, the direction the club was going in, compared to now where we're going in. It's night and day. It's full 180 complete. When he first came in, we were going worse, further and further and further down that league. He's now come in. We're now going up the league, and we're even looking up above yet again. The changes that has happened since Paratici has come in here, since Conte has come in here, it's been night and day, and long may it continue. Acting like a big club. That started in January by fucking out 3 players out the door that do not want to be here, instead of keeping them around because we need numbers. And I said this at the time. They're not numbers. You cannot count them as numbers if they do not want to be here. How can you count them as a body if they do not want to be here? You may as well just count Casper the Ghost at that stage. So I'm absolutely delighted that's when we were acting like a big club, getting in quality over quantity, and then buying before we're selling in this market, getting in our target so quickly. It's absolutely unbelievable. Big up, Joseph, my man. Absolutely spot on. And look, just a couple more needed. We could very well still be sitting here right now saying we still need 6, 7 in the door, but we're not. We are not. And now we can do some proper due diligence for the remainder of this market. Big up, Joseph, my man. I really do.
Big up, Joseph. And Dave, just something absolutely insane. I actually just realized that, and I've been waiting for this to happen, but Ribsy85, just kind of like you can do through Twitch, has just given 5 memberships, Dave. He has gifted away 5 memberships to, I think, just kind of random people in the chat who are tuning in. Random subscribers now have 5 memberships that Ribsy has given. Just like on Twitch, Dave, you can, give away, memberships. Ribsy has just given 5 memberships away to the Harris Army. Absolute legend. And let's welcome in, I can't say this name, but I believe it's a Korean fan of some kind, and it's good to have her in. Welcome to the Harris Army via Ribsy85. We have Delroy Banton has become a new member via Ribsy. NWB has become a new member via Ribsy. Johnny 5 Alive 85 has become a new member because of Ribsy. Tony Snow, absolute legend, Ribsy. Appreciate you, brother. Huge, my man. Absolutely huge. It's crazy,
Wow.
Dave. And I've been waiting for this to happen. Maybe I might have missed it before, so I do apologize, everybody. StreamYard doesn't really show, that sort of gift happening. So I had to pull it up on the phone, and I just saw it here, Ribsy. You're an absolute legend, my man. Love you, brother. Love you, brother.
Wow.
Welcome to the Harris Army, all of you.
I didn't even know you could do that, but he's gifted 5 memberships. Ribsy, that is absolutely insane, my man. I was confused as to what was going on there. I wasn't sure what was going on.
No, it's
but
like in Twitch, Dave. It's something
incredible.
that YouTube has just added. Something YouTube has just added that Twitch more or less has. And Ribsy, appreciate you, brother. Legend, my man. Really, really generous.
That is unbelievable. Big up, Ribsy. That is absolutely incredible. What a man. In fact, everybody, big up Ribsy in the comments. That is such an unbelievable thing to do. The fact that there is people around the world that may not be able to afford it, and the fact that this guy has gifted 5 to other people out there, it's absolutely unbelievable, Ribsy. Big yourself up, my man. What an absolute
He says celebration memberships. He's in celebration mode. Ribsy, honestly, it's way too kind, my man. I'm actually really, really touched. It's really, really kind, brother, because that's what we want to see. We want to see so many of you guys with the badges beside the name, but we know you can't. Times are tough right now. Nobody, things are just a bit tighter with the budget and whatnot. But Ribsy, at least for right now, these guys are full-fledged members of the Harris Army and the IrishHotspur Army. Thanks to you, brother. Absolute legend. Appreciate you, my man.
Absolute legend, my man. Absolute legend. What that is too kind. Everybody, big up Ribsy in the comments. That deserves it. That is so nice. And he's well aware there's people out there that can't afford it, and he still goes and does that. Absolute legend. Just before we take Colin Turner, I just want to take Mark. He says, David and Jack, be a good discussion about what happened to Dele. Look, Mark, we tried putting out shows on Winks. We tried putting out a single show on Dele Alli. We put so much time, detail, and effort into them. But at the time, Spurs fans did not want it. We got absolutely slated, so I took it down. I just took them down because we got absolutely slated for them. But we tried. But fans did not want or did not like the truth. It's like, how can you expose our players like that? How dare you? So we tried. We tried, my man. We tried.
We tried to tell the whole story of Dele Alli. We tried to tell the whole story of Harry Winks. In fact, we were going at it much more of a level-headed sort of approach as well, just trying to tell the whole story, what happened and everything. And yeah, like Dave said, I guess people just didn't really like it at the end of the day. We tried our best too. We had a full, 2-hour, show about it, but people just didn't enjoy it.
Wolves F1 in the chat saying we are Tottenham TV raid as well. Big up, my man. Absolutely love that. What a legend. But look, Jack, before we take a couple more super chats, I think we'll get into the first bit of news about Richarlison and about what that fucking idiot Jack Wilshere had to say.
Yeah. Absolutely, David. Honestly, what an absolute clown, especially in the Jack Wilshere case. Richarlison here, everybody. We're going to talk about that first. Tottenham Hotspur the official account for Tottenham Hotspur, have announced the signing of Richarlison, and they said, we are delighted to announce the signing of Richarlison from Everton, subject to a work permit. It is a £50 million fee plus add-ons, everybody. And then former Arsenal midfielder Jack Wilshere says that 60 million man Richarlison will improve the squad at Tottenham, but wasn't sure he would get in the starting 11 of the Gunners. Yeah, but I don't think he gets in the 11. He definitely challenged for it and be a good part of the squad, but I don't think he gets in the 11, said the former Gooner. Dave, I don't know where to start. I guess, Richarlison officially announced, he is holding the shirt. Everybody's been waiting for that moment. He is now holding the shirt. Richarlison is ours. And then Jack Wilshere, I guess more or less forgetting what he said 5 days ago and then saying something completely different, the next time he was on TalkSport. Not a surprise.
No, look, first of all, big up Delroy Banton. I think he's one of the ones that Ribsy gave away. Absolute legend. Delroy loving the name being mentioned. But Jack, I don't call him Jack Wilshere. I call him Jack Wheelchair. Look, this guy has been absolutely injury prone. His career's gone downhill. I mean, in all honesty, who the fuck is he to talk about Richarlison coming to Tottenham? The guy's career was finished. In fact, I think the reason why he done it, Jack, is to try and stay relevant because he's been so irrelevant. Any little spells he's had here and there has not worked out for him. And look, no wonder why his career went down the pan. If you can't even see that, Richarlison is much better than Gabriel Jesus. Let's get this straight. Does Richarlison get in over Kit Kat and Gabriel Jesus every day of the week? Does he get in ahead of Saka every day of the week? Does he get in ahead of fucking that cheap cleaning product Odegaard every day of the week? Does he get in ahead of that idiot stuck up a creek without a paddle, Emil Smith rowboat? Yes, he does. Gets in ahead of him every single day of the week. What is this wheelchair idiot talking about? Jack Wheelchair. What an absolute moron. You know, look, he's just trying
The
to show
fact he
his
doesn't get above Kit Kat, Dave, like he doesn't get above Kit Kat, like that's
He's
just
probably trying to get a
absurd.
new contract with Arsenal, Jack. That's probably what it is. He's probably thinking, oh, potentially they might sucker and take me in. Look, he's just trying to stay relevant. He's trying to get the Arsenal fans to come out and be like, we love you, Jack. You know, even when he sang that stupid song about Spurs and everything else, this guy is an absolute idiot. And you know what? We beat them so bad at home. I just hope, I cannot wait for Richarlison to play against them and give them such a beatdown that Wheelchair has to come out and apologize. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. That's absolutely shocking. Everybody, get in the comments. Let me know what you think about Jack Wheelchair and his stupid little ridiculous comments.
Sue Smith as well saying Jack Straw ankles, Bit Park footballer, full-time hospital patient. Sue as well. Everybody, big up Sue. Everybody, she's trying to recover. I think she just picked up COVID as well. So hopefully everybody, big up Koo. Hopefully this show, maybe, eases a bit of the pain, eases a bit of the struggles of the sickness. But hopefully you get better soon, Sue. And Sue, it's a bit of a smooth, transition. Because I will say for some people it's really rough. For others, it's not so bad. So hopefully it gets a bit better from here. Big up, Sue. Love you.
100%. Big up, Smooth. Yeah, and that Darren Bent is another one, honestly. And you know what? He's still bitter over the time Harry Redknapp criticized him, saying that his misses or something would have scored a sitter that he missed at that time. And Darren Bent was crying about, how can you say that about me in public and everything else? Well, I say what I want about you if you don't put in sitters, which you're paid to do. He's absolutely shocking. Absolute. Again, another one of them crybaby little muppets that come to this club. That's what Darren Bent is. He's on TalkSport giving it the large. Absolute bell end as well.
Big up. Colin Turner just with the donation. Thank you very much, Colin. And it's good to have you in the chat, my man. And I do really appreciate also the support also on the other channel on Flat Cap, my man, as well, Colin. Really appreciate you, brother. Been an absolute legend of both channels. Big up, Colin.
Big up, Colin Turner. Absolute legend.
Dark Sun G saying GLC, Tongi, Stevie Winks are the 4 bad eggs left. Everyone else is great. People with great football attitude and respect the badge are team morale. Absolutely, Dark Sun GLC. I mean, you just break it down quickly. The guy never wanted to play for Spurs in the first place. Seems to only really want to play for Argentina whenever that comes around. Seen as a bit of a weirdo accordingly. Maybe it was actually really rude to staff. So I heard as well, around the training ground. So honestly, GLC, not the right type of player we want around. Tongi just doesn't seem to care about football, it seems like, anymore. Just the guy just couldn't be asked to play. And it comes to Stevie, I guess, didn't want to realize that Sonny is just a better player than him and that he never was going to play ahead of Sonny. And he decided to, just complain about, having Sonny being played ahead of him. And as much as I had sympathy at one stage for Bergwijn, at a certain stage, I just thought he was getting a bit ridiculous that he was not, he was just ignoring the fact that Sonny is in firing form and is not going to drop his spot for Bergwijn, to re-find his form. So I don't know. It's kind of sad, actually. And then Winks, I don't know. It's Winks a bad attitude in the dressing room. I don't think he's as bad attitude as a dressing room as the rest of the team. But the problem with Winks is that he genuinely is just such a liability when he comes onto the field that there really is no reason to keep him around because he's just not a top 4 midfielder. Even as a top 4 backup midfielder, he's not even that good. Like, he's just a liability. I don't know if it's his attitude that's poisonous with Winks. I just think he's just a liability. That's all it is.
Look, I don't blame people for supporting these guys. I mean, that's what we had at the time. But we've just got to be honest. Look, big clubs, who stay big clubs, by the way, not someone like Man United, but massive, big clubs that are challenging for trophies, they don't have people hanging around in the squad, even though they've got a bad attitude just for numbers. They don't do it because they rely on everybody. And that's why you see the likes of a Liverpool going for a quadruple, City at times going for what they do, because they can rely on everybody in their squad. We could not do that. Hopefully now under Conte, I think we can going forward. But even with Stevie B, look, I get it. The guy was scoring goals, but people were still saying, no, we got to keep him. No, we don't. He's a bad attitude in and around the training ground. He's got to go. We can't keep bringing in these players and massaging their egos. And the reason why I say that is because these players don't deserve their egos massaged. You want to massage egos, go and massage Ronaldo's, Messi's, Harry Kane's, Sons, people like that. Not idiots like these names here on screen that do not deserve their egos massaged. They haven't done anything for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Why are we sitting here massaging their egos or having to massage their egos to get them out on the pitch? It's like they expect Conte to come up, give them a deep shoulder massage, whisper sweet nothings in their ear so that we can get a performance out there on the weekend. Conte doesn't work like that. Conte's like, you work for me, boy. You work for me. You impress me on the training pitch. It's not up to me to come and give you a massage and beg you to play. And I'm glad that we've got rid of that culture, because it was only sending us down one way, and we can never, ever, ever get sucking into building a culture or letting a culture like that develop ever again. It's bad for football. It's bad for this club.
Spot on, Dave. Spot on, Dark Sun G. Wolves F1, big up, my man, and it's good to see you in the chat. And he's given a nice donation. Really appreciate you, brother, and thank you for rating us over from We Are Tom TV, showing the Irish Hotspur a bit of love. Big up, Wolves, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well today on this weekend. Neville Murrigan saying, big ups, guys. You champs. Appreciate you guys.
Wow.
Appreciate you, Neville, my man, and appreciate the donation, as well as appreciate all the support, brother. Hopefully you're doing well this weekend. Richarlison has been officially announced. You're probably getting Jed Spence and Longley too, maybe at the end of the weekend. Hopefully all is good with you, Neville. Good to see you in the chat as well, brother.
Yeah, big up, Neville. Great to see you. Any related to Gary Neville or Phil Neville, or even their old lad who's Neville?
Neville
Let
Army.
me know, my man. Any relation, but big up, Neville. Good to see you in the building. Really appreciate the kind words, brother.
Stefan Blois saying Jack Wilshere's job to show injured players the treatment room. I think that's maybe the job that he's actually applying for, Dave, is, just to give them, tours of the medical department, just give them tours of, all the, the stations, to recover from, this is how, this is where the water fountain is, this is where, the weights are and all that. He's just going to be a chauffeur, you could say, for the medical department.
Yeah, that's what he should be. That's what he exactly should be. Big up, Stefan. A 300 quid a week, all you got to do is show them off the pitch, straight into the medical room, and just tell them what you done to stay injured all the time. That'd be brilliant. Big up, my man. Big up. And then Dark Song G says, Gooners missed out on Kulu, Richarlison, and Rafinha, and now their backup winger is that kid Pepe. Laugh my ass off. Also, Richarlison loves a goal versus Gooners. Come on, you Spurs. Yeah, look, with Kulu, I'm not sure whether they were actually in for him, but look, he was never ever going to go there anyway. Richarlison, they just couldn't get him. Rafinha, they'd be absolutely raging about, because they were sitting there thinking, oh, it's Seuss Rafinha. Don Robbie was about to get another choreographed dance routine like he done for Thomas Partey signing, done for AFTV. Probably them doing a bit of belly dance and a bit of samba. It's absolutely ridiculous. Carry on. I'm glad that did not happen for them. And look, that kid Pepe. I mean, look, I know I shouldn't be laughing because we wasted money on Ndombele.
It's comparable.
But the money they spent on a guy that no one heard of before he arrived at Arsenal is mind-blowing.
I mean, he had a really good season, I think, whatever it was over at Lille, that season. But it's just Dark Sun G. Like, genuinely, the Pepe one is actually comparable to the Tanguy one. It's hard to know which one is worse, because you're really just judging which one has maybe done more for their football club. I don't even know which one has done more. I don't really want to say Tanguy has, because I feel like that would be pretty absurd if actually somehow Tanguy did more than Nicola Pepe has. But seriously, they're comparably atrocious signings, Dark Sun G. Some of the biggest waste of money in the last 10 years of any football club, if you ask me, my man. Probably not as bad as like an Eden Hazard signing, but pretty close up there, my man. Pretty close up there for shocking signings. And big up Dark Sun G. And yeah, they missed out on Kulu, Richarlison, Rafinha. They were making edits, for, instead of actually focusing on the signing. Edu, Dark Sun G, instead of, sealing up the paperwork, he was watching highlight reels, wasn't actually doing his job. And now he's just sitting there missing out on that huge opportunity. And he's just looking at Jesus, hoping that he can actually, do a job, which he won't. Big up Dark Sun G.
What I will say as well, just quickly, is, can anybody see what's going on at Arsenal? The signings they're making is very similar to what Tottenham was doing under Steve Hitchen. They're only going to go one way. Only going to go one way. And what they're doing is spending big money on players that is a risk. Not anything guaranteed. We spent big money on Richarlison, but you're guaranteed to get double digits out of him this season. They spent big money on Vieira. You don't know what you're going to get from him. And that's what's happening at Arsenal. They're doing the mistakes we made. They're doing the mistakes we made, and they're not learning from them. Even keeping Arteta in the job is, again, comparable to Nuno, to be honest. In fact, it's probably worse than Nuno, because Nuno had Premier League experience at Wolves. So they're making tons of mistakes, and long may it continue.
long may it continue. And we're going to keep moving on through the rest of the news here, everybody. Then we're going to bring the fans on. Do apologize, everybody, for the slight delay, but everybody's just buzzing right now. You know, they want to get their says in. We're going to continue to get through the news.
Apologize. It's easy. It's chill time today. It's easy breezy.
Chill time, exactly, Dave. No, you're totally right. Totally right. But we're going to chat about Jesse Lingard and the rumor that just came out today via the Telegraph. Tottenham are willing to rival West Ham and Everton for Jesse Lingard following his release from Manchester United. West Ham have already made a lucrative proposal to the formal loanee, but he is yet to make an answer on a return to that East London club. Everton have also thrown their hat into the ring following the £60 million sale of Richarlison to Tottenham. Mike McGrath of the Telegraph has reported that Tottenham consider free agent Jesse Lingard as a homegrown option for midfield. And then he went on to later say that West Ham have been in the race for Lingard following his loan to David Moyes' squad last year when he forced his way back into Gareth Southgate's consideration for England. But Spurs, who have been looking to add numbers to Antonio Conte's squad to cope with Champions League football next season, have also looked at Lingard, who has the added bonus of being a homegrown player. Dave, creative midfield role, Lingard, do you see this working? Like, does this make sense? I mean, how do you feel about this rumor?
If I'm honest, I'd rather go and get Eriksen if that's the case. If that's what we're looking to do is kind of look for that cheap option or that free option in that sort of role. I would rather go and get Eriksen. Well, look, Lingard's not a bad option, Jack. He's not one that, I mean, I'll be outside setting off fireworks about. But at the end of the day, for me, I don't think he's a bad option to have. He can play all across. He can fill it either in the out wide positions as well. You know, when he was on it, he was a decent player. What I did notice, especially under Jose Mourinho at United, the timing of his runs in behind were absolutely exceptional at the time. And look, this is a guy with a point to prove. I think, look, he had his problems, which wasn't attitude or anything, by the way. It was the fact that his mother was very, very sick at the time. And then he had to basically take on caring for her, plus his siblings as well. So, like, you know, he had an awful lot going on. And you're talking about getting them to school, getting them home, making sure their homework is done, feeding them, making sure they're okay, plus looking after his mother. He went to West Ham, got his head back on, had a very good season at West Ham, by the way. In fact, he even played very well against us. Went back to United and never got a chance. So I'm very surprised, even with how bad things were last season. So for me, look, he's not a bad option. Get him in. He's definitely going to be what you would call a squad player, a player you can put out there in the cups and stuff like that. Yeah, look, not a bad option. At the end of the day, Jack, I'm all for having numbers. I mean, look, last year I was looking at the bench and I was looking at the Craig twins. I mean, they're not going to change the game. It's no disrespect to them, but they're youngsters. They're not going to change the games. You know, so for me, I think with Lingard coming in, free signing, I think fine. But I do think Mark hit the nail on the head. I do think we're being used so that they can get more money out of West Ham.
Interesting. Yeah, that's probably actually the more likely scenario. I think it's maybe the homegrown, case is something that Spurs, are really actually taking more seriously. I'm kind of in the boat with you, Dave, where like I'm pretty sure Spurs have a pretty good idea of, what players they need to get in to meet homegrown reasons or quotas, which ones they don't need to bring in, etc. It's actually, I think the way that you actually do, fix this huge homegrown issue is if you do kind of actually sell, GLC, Tanguy, and maybe an Emerson or something like that on top of that, or a Sanchez even, and then you actually free up those, kind of foreign spots that you can either replace with homegrown players or maybe replaced with like one, maybe foreign player if you wanted. So it kind of makes sense that we are going after him because he has that homegrown, kind of tag to him, Dave. The one thing I am not really happy about if we were to get Lingard is he really going to pick apart, kind of, deep lying teams? He's never really come across to me as that sort of player. I think the reason he did so well at West Ham was because we know West Ham are really kind of counter-attacking team, Dave. They like to, sit back, sit deep, win the ball, and then they just kind of break on you. And Lingard was actually exceptional at leading those breaks for West Ham, even when they played us. If you remember 2 seasons ago with Jose, Dave, that's exactly what they did to us. They just hit us on the break with Lingard and Antonio every single time. And it caused us a lot of trouble. It caused us, a lot of fear. I don't really know if Lingard can do that for Spurs. Like the creative midfielder is supposed to be brought in here, Dave, to pick out passes, to unlock defenses, to be that sort of genius playmaker that, sort of kind of picks apart teams. I don't think Lingard has ever really been that player. I think he's exceptional when it comes to, being part of a counterattacking sort of kind of side.
He's better at running in behind, I find, Jack. I think he's
better running in behind, running with the ball at his feet. But like if you're asking him to, sit in front of a deep lying team that's right in front of their 18-yard box. He's not going to play little dink passes over the top. He's not going to slip through balls. He's not going to do anything that sort of unlocks a defense if it's sitting really deep. And I think that's the whole reason we're buying a creative midfielder, is to fix that sort of problem that we've been having with unlocking defenses. And I just don't think Lingard is that guy.
Let me ask you this then, Jack. I mean, look, I think we would all like that, maybe a creative attacking midfield option. We've already spent money on Bassoon. We've already got 4 midfielders there ready to go this season. But we also have areas at the back that we need to improve on. Do you want Tottenham to go out and spend big money on someone in that sort of cam position? Or would you rather try and pick up a cheap option or a free option like an Eriksen or Lingard and save that money to really improve that backline?
I had a conversation about this recently, Dave. As much as I think we all probably want, big Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, for that creative midfield role, that is not going to happen because we don't really know how many minutes, this creative midfielder even gets. And if we are going to bring in a creative midfielder, Dave, if they can't play in that pivot, the 3-4-3 pivot, if they can't do that, then they're very limited to, what sort of formation and what sort of shape, they can play in. Essentially, they're only going to be available for that 3-5-2 when we sort of switch to that sort of formation. And how often are we going to play the 3-5-2? We don't really know. We just don't know. And that kind of gives me a bit of concern, Dave, is do you really then spend a lot of money on the creative midfielder knowing that perhaps he actually doesn't play as much as you probably would like? It makes sense then maybe to go after a cheaper option. As much as we would want to go after a big Sergei or a James Maddison or something like that, it seems like Spurs are going to treat the creative midfielder, Dave, as almost one of their last sort of priorities. I think they're going to get one in, but I think they're going to treat it as one of their last priorities, or the one that they might spend the least amount of money on.
And you know what, Jack? I think rightly so. Look, we come into this summer needing look, if we're being honest, you probably needed about 10 players in this door. Now, we're not at Man City level or Chelsea level where you can go and spend 60, 70 million on 5-6 signings. I mean, Guardiola famously done it with the fullbacks at Man City when he came in, spent 150 million on fullbacks. We don't have that luxury, but what we need to do is put the building blocks in place to be able to do that. And that's by doing it right this summer. Spending big where you need to spend big too. Fill out the squad with other decent Premier League, with other decent players. And then next season, Jack, you can sit there and you're in a position where you don't need so many signings. You can pick your one target and go and spend all your money on that target if that's what you want to do. We need to build to get into that position. So I'm happy with us to be able to look for a free option or maybe a cheap enough option to get in here in that position and save that money and really improve that backline. Because then next summer you can say, okay, we've 100 million, let's go and spend it on an attacking midfielder. You can go and get your first choice. But we need to get ourselves to that position. We will not be able to, in my opinion, because we're struggling to get rid of players, I don't think we'll be able to spend massive money on that centre attacking midfielder plus massive money on another defender and maybe another wing back. I do not see us being able to do that without offloading players. So for me, I'm happy with taking in a cheap enough option and just improving that back line more.
It just seems more realistic. As much as we all want a James Maddison, it seems unrealistic because James Maddison, like I said, he can't play in that pivot for the 3-4-3. You then would probably have to then switch gears, have to play more 3-5-2. Is Conte going to do that? I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Maybe he actually would do that. But at least, the evidence would suggest I don't think he is going to, just change system, dramatically to a 3-5-2 more often. I see him splitting it up a bit more. And if he splits it up a bit more, you can't really get a 40-50 million pound creative midfielder. That's just how it is. Neville Murrigan.
I would like to. Yeah. We would like to. Let us stress that before we get criticized. We would love to.
I would love a Sergei. It's just not happening.
I don't think we will. I don't think
it just doesn't make sense. Neville Murrigan with a huge one saying, hey guys, we are planning a trip from South Africa to London for the Spurs versus Gooners. Planning in progress. Was my dream to bring my son with. Hope to meet you guys and Ben and Sim. Neville, that is huge, my man. Dave, so many people are making kind of, the pilgrimage, over to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And a lot of them have decided to go big with the North London Derby. Honestly, guys, I thought it was huge to do West Ham. I couldn't even imagine your first game being the North London Derby. Talk about like surreal. Talk about like, complete exposure. Honestly, Neville, sounds insane, my man. And I hope you enjoy it, especially bringing the son with. You are very, very kind and generous as well to do that, Neville. Very, very kind of you, to bring him along. I know Rufus is doing something similar. Our man out in Freiburg, he's taking his son to the opening season. I think the opening game of the season as well. So lots of, dads, I would say, treating their sons with some very nice Spurs pilgrimages. Big up, Neville. Very kind of you.
What I will say, my man, is it's a trip your son will never, ever forget. I still remember the days my old lad used to bring me down to White Hart Lane, back in the 90s to watch them and stuff like that. And I have very, very fond memories. It forced a very, very, what would you say, bond over, over our lifetime as well. I think it's absolutely brilliant that you can do that with your son, my man. And trust me, he'll be forever grateful. I mean, look, coming from where you're coming from, I think, South Africa, I mean, look, it's an expensive trip. It's a long one. I really do hope you enjoy it. And look, if you can travel that distance, I'm sure I'll be able to get over. Look, it's very, very hard to get tickets for the North London Derby. But even if I don't get a ticket, I'm sure I can get over and I'll be able to meet you before the game, my man. But big up, man. Hopefully we do get to see each other. Absolute legend. But your son will really enjoy it. You'll create a nice bond forever, my man.
And Sin and Bem are top guys, my man. They will be happy to take a picture with you. They'll probably enjoy a nice pint with you, Neville, if you're into that sort of thing. They're very top guys, my man. Very, very nice guys. And they talk to anyone, say hello to anyone. They're very, very down to earth. So Neville, just walk right up to him, my man. Just walk right up to them. Big up.
Legend. I really do hope we get the win and you enjoy it. Look, actually, we will get the win. We will get the win. I just hope you enjoy your day, my man. The stadium is absolutely incredible. Incredible. Best stadium of our football.
Daniel Larson with another one saying we should look at Jacob Ramsey from Villa. That's actually an interesting shout. I don't really know, though, again, if he's really a creative midfielder, though, Daniel, because what I noticed from Jacob Ramsey was his best attributes was sort of, kind of similar to Lingard, maybe not that similar, but really good ball carrier from what I noticed, Jacob Ramsey. There were lots of times when he went on some pretty sensational runs, taking past one player, two players, and, making something happen. He's actually a decent finisher. By the looks of it too, Jacob Ramsey is. He's more of, I would say, I could be wrong, Dave, sort of gives me box to box, midfielder sort of vibes, Jacob Ramsey does. And he's also just still a bit raw, and I don't know. He's impressed me with certain games. I've seen him have really good games that he's impressed me with, but maybe it just doesn't fix the creative midfield role problem. But I see what Daniel's going for. I think he's going for something else than Jesse Lingard. Maybe he's saying he would rather have Jacob Ramsey than Jesse Lingard.
Yeah, no, look, when it comes to Jacob Ramsey, look, I like Daniel Larson's thinking. It's outside the box, which I do think we will have to do on this position. But Jacob Ramsey will not come cheap. He's young, he's English, and he'll command a price tag. As well, I'm very hesitant of signing a player who's had one breakthrough season in the Premier League as well. Very, very hesitant. Look, I know I'll probably contradict myself here because I want us to bring in Spence. But that's because I believe Spence will go on and do great things. I don't see anything in Jacob Ramsey that will go on and make him stand out amongst other midfielders we currently have. Whereas I do think Jed Spence actually has a chance at right wing back to make that position his own. For me, I would wait on Jacob Ramsey. I would wait on Jacob Ramsey. I'd wait to see what he can do. I don't look at him and think, oh, he's special. I just don't.
And he was trying to find another homegrown solution. And it's a clever one.
Homegrown solution is not something most fans need to worry about. The club will make that happen. Look, you've got Kane, Sessegnon, Skip, if they need Fraser Forrester, they'll probably put Alfie Whiteman if they have to. If Harvey White stays around, which he probably will go out alone, but you can register him. You bring in Jed Spence, you register him. Tanganga's still there. Homegrown is not going to be that much of a massive, massive problem. City famously done in Champions League. Left out a couple of players, registered youngsters. Not this season, it was a couple of seasons ago, just to make the thing. Tottenham will make that quota, no problem. If they have to, they'll fill it with youngsters. But as long as we have 18 to 19 senior players here who can go out there and do a job for us on the weekend when called upon, homegrown quota is not really an issue that fans ever have to worry about.
Well, there you are. Dave, speaking his mind on the homegrown issue. Big up, Daniel, though, and I appreciate the suggestion of Jacob Ramsey. I haven't been impressed with him this season, I will be honest. But we are going to move on to the other bit of news, just kind of wrap up with Jed Spence and quickly another one. Jed Spence, according to Sky Sports, Tottenham are in advanced negotiations with Jed Spence and Middlesbrough for £15 million plus add-on. The deal is expected to be announced sometime this weekend or Monday. Dave, at first, this seemed like Tomiyasu sort of vibes, the Judd Spence deal. But by the looks of it, might be happening. But I don't know. We're getting, so many conflicting reports. But Sky Sports, Dave, I think it was a day ago, they might have reported that, he is expected to be signed this weekend.
Yeah. Look, Judd Spence, I think I'm happy with it. I think I sneakily have a suspicion this guy will break into the team not too long after arriving here. I really do. I think this is a guy that Conte can really mold. And for me, I would like to get him in. Again, I think he counts towards the homegrown quota as well, which, look, like I said, we shouldn't have to worry about. But with Spence, I would rather get him in now because England have produced a lot of good right-backs down the last 4 or 5 years. I look at him, I think he's got brilliant talent. I think, he's got something that we don't currently have, which is knocking the ball by his man and taking his man on. I think Emerson and Doherty are very, very reluctant to do that. And I think Spence will actually find himself in the team very, very quickly once he arrives here. And I actually think he would probably shock a lot of people, Jack. For me, 15 million. Look, we spent 10 million on Jack Clark. Didn't work out. Spent 20 million on Session. And he's now in and around the team. For me, I'd rather pay the 15 million now than pay 50 million down the line when he becomes good.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The one thing I do like about Judd Spence I'd quickly add is that he obviously has certain attributes to his game that no other wingback in our team has. And I think I'm speaking about that dribbling ability and that ball carrying ability. He's better than I think the rest of our fullbacks at actually skinning past his man, actually, taking on his defender in one-on-one situations. Emerson, we all know, really struggles with that. He has to just take it inside every time. Whereas, with Doherty, he can sort of do it, but, needs maybe a bit more clever, can't just use his athleticism or anything anymore. In the case of Sessegnon, I'll be honest, Dave, I don't really remember too many times when Sessegnon skinning past players, with a dribble or anything. Sort of same story goes for Reguilón as well. So what I do like about Judd Spence is he is going to offer something that probably the rest of our wingbacks can't offer, which is that sort of dynamism to take it past his guy, make sort of chaos happen, be able to be good in those one-on-one situations with the ball. And I'm happy about that. He's going to offer something different is what I'm trying to say than the rest of our wingbacks.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I just want to bring this up. This guy's an absolute bellend. No one said there was a similarity between Alli and Spence. I think you're hearing what you want to hear and trying to make an issue out of it. You're an absolute muppet.
Here we are going on to the next bit of deal from Tottenham signing Josh Keeley and Tyrell Ashcroft, which I haven't actually heard of this one. Tottenham have officially announced the signing of versatile defender Tyrell Ashcroft, who turns 18 later this month, since arriving from Reading, where he spent most of the season playing for their under-23s while also making 4 senior appearances in the championship. 17-year-old Ashcroft made 4 first-team appearances last season, making his debut at the Den in a 1-0 defeat to Millwall in November. He is also a regular for Noel Hunt's under-23 playing team more than 20 times in the Premier League, second division. Tyrell will join the development squad of Spurs. Also, Ireland underage international goalkeeper Josh Keeley has signed for Tottenham Hotspur from St. Patrick's Athletic. Keeley has represented Ireland from under-16s to under-19s level and made his first senior start for the Saints in the final game of last season against Finn Harps and was on the bench for the St. Pat's Cup final victory over the Bohemians. Keeley will join the development squad, and he did say, "I'm absolutely over the moon to have signed for such a big club," said Keeley, speaking in an interview with St. Pat's following the confirmation of his move to Tottenham Hotspur. He later went on to say, "It's a very proud moment and a great achievement for me and my family. It's every kid's dream to sign for a team in England, and I'm absolutely delighted. Signed the contract, didn't even feel it was real. It still hasn't hit me yet, and I can't wait to get going." That's actually very touching. "I'd like to thank everyone at St. Pat's for my time at the club. I've loved every minute from when I signed at the under-15s right up to the first team, and I appreciate all the work and effort that was put into my development. St. Pat's is a fantastic club, and I'll miss it, but I'm looking forward to getting going now at Tottenham, continuing to work hard and see where it takes me." Dave, Josh Keeley, have you gotten any, kind of inside reports on people who might know about that St. Pat's goalkeeper?
Look, for me, from what I've heard of Jack, he's been very, very highly rated. He actually only signed his first professional contract for St. Pat's. It was last January. Now, look, he hasn't actually, like you said there, he's made one senior appearance and was on the bench for the final against Bohemians in the cup. But he's been very, very highly rated, Jack. But what I will say is, I'm excited about this one because if you look at Ireland right now, we're a hotbed for keepers. You've got Caoimhín Kelleher, Gavin Bazunu, who's now just joined Southampton, Mark Travers, who's playing first-team football at Bournemouth. He's the guy actually that stepped in. Remember the last time we played Bournemouth and I think we lost the game. I think we actually lost the game and the guy made about 12, 13 saves. That's that guy. And for me, I think with Josh Keeley, he's very, very highly rated. And he got his move very, very quickly to England. And I think he's absolutely buzzing. But Ireland is a hotbed for keepers right now. We're developing some serious keepers. I mean, some people are saying he's come from St. Pat's. He doesn't have a chance. I was listening to an interview that Gavin Bazunu done yesterday. He started off at St. Pat's. He done well. And then he ended up going over to Man City. Then we got loaned from Man City out to Portsmouth, became their player of the year, plus players player of the year. And now he got his move to Southampton. And I think Josh Keeley can definitely work out at Tottenham. There's a lot of high hopes for him, especially in and around Ireland and the Irish setup. A lot of high hopes for this guy. And I think working alongside Hugo Lloris and Fraser Forrester will only take him to the next level. Look, will he ever make a first-team appearance for Spurs? I mean, that's too hard to call right now. You've seen the likes of Alfie Whiteman, Austin. Like, I know Whiteman's made a couple of appearances, but look how long they've been here. Look at the age they are, and they barely ever make an appearance. So it's hard for any keeper to kind of get into the first team. But Josh Keeley is one that is very highly rated, and I think he'll do just fine at Tottenham. And plus, we let go, I think it was 5 academy keepers this summer, clearly looking at them and saying, look, not good enough, never going to make it. And now they've replaced them by bringing this guy in. So, they have real high hopes for him as well at Tottenham, I believe.
And Tyrell Ashcroft, apparently, a Reading, center back that, has a lot of talent. To be fair, Elise, Dave, who you were a big fan of, I did believe, I think Michael Elise actually came from Reading as well. So maybe they have a bit of an up-and-coming, academy or kind of crop of players that might be produced. I'm kind of just talking, absolute bollocks. I don't really know what I'm really saying when it comes to Reading, but Dave, Michael Elise is, and a huge player to come out of, that team. So perhaps, maybe something similar with Mr. Tyrell Ashcroft.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest. I've never heard of the kid before. Never ever heard of him. I know who Noel Hunt is, the under-23 manager. He's an ex-Republic of Ireland striker, slash winger. He's played for Ireland. I know who Noel Hunt is, but this Tyler Ashcroft, never heard of him. But look, the fact that we're identifying these young players and getting them in for that under-23 squad, the development squad, it does. And as well, you have to remember, look at the staff changes we're doing as well, Jack. I think there's very exciting times happening at Tottenham. And I think hopefully you'd like to think with the signings we're bringing in at some of these under-23 groups that they've done their homework and that they now can come through into the first team. And there's a part there for them where there maybe wasn't before. I just want to clear something up. I see in the chat brewing. And it's from Football Frank. And where the whole Alli and Spence thing, and it's got miscommunicated, is John Stokes was saying that Alli came from the lower leagues. And look how it worked out for him at Tottenham for a period of time. And hopefully Spence can do the same. It's got absolutely nothing to do with racism whatsoever. And John Stokes is a good guy, and I'll vouch for him 100%. Yeah. It's nothing to do with it. He was just comparing the fact that Dele Alli came from the lower leagues and went into Tottenham and had a good goal. And I think he's saying that Spence can also go and do the same. So it's nothing to do with what you're saying, to be honest with you, my man. So let's just cool it down. It's nothing to do with that whatsoever.
Last bit of news here. Tottenham have been the biggest spenders so far this summer. Tottenham are now in the top of the Premier League spending charts, with Tottenham have so far spent 95 million, whereas Liverpool have spent 91.5, Man City 51.1, Leeds 45, Arsenal 44.5. And then Aston Villa 43. I think that Arsenal one needs to be updated, to be fair, Dave, because, they have the Vieira signing on top of, the Gabriel Jesus signing when you think about it, which were both, I think, around the 40 million mark, if I'm not mistaken. So, we'll see how that, maybe that's actually up there in the 80s when it comes to Arsenal. They might be spending big yet again. But Dave, Spurs spending more than the rest and getting in more players than the rest so far. We're acting quickly and we're spending big, while the others are, you could say, a bit far behind.
And it's exactly what we wanted to do, Jack. We wanted to be leading that transfer market. At the end of the day, we had so much work to do. I'd be very surprised if we were nowhere near around the top. The fact that we're top and leading the pack, it's a statement of intent. You would never say this about Tottenham before. And for me, it shows signs that we are serious coming into this season, that we want to challenge. We want to win trophies. And in fairness, they're putting the money where the mouth is. Before, they've sacked managers on the remit of top four, but never really given them absolutely everything to achieve that or go beyond that. Whereas now, there's no excuses for it. If they set the remit at top four and they're backing the manager like this, it's got to be done. But Conte has said to them, and look, in fairness, we could have lost Conte throughout last season. We could have lost them over the summer. But they've said, look, whatever you want, we'll go and get. Give us your targets, we'll go and get them. And with us, we needed to act more than Liverpool, more than City, more than any other team, because we finished the season with 14 fit senior outfield players. That should not happen at a big club like Tottenham Hotspur. So we had to spend the money, and it's good to see that we are, Jack.
No, it is good to see that we are. And that is the last bit of news here, everybody, from us, from David and I. So everybody, we are going to move and transition into the fan show. We already have the link out there for everybody that does have that fan show membership. So I will repeat, everybody has the fan show membership. The link is in your community section. It's there waiting for you. Smash it. Come on. We don't bite, and you will put you in line. And also as well, we can save your spot in line if need be. Just pop in, show your face, into the background, and we'll just record your spot, keep it in line, and then we'll call for you to come on. We already have 3 guests lined up. We'd love to have some more, but everybody, I think we're just going to get into the fan show portion where they're going to chat about the news and give their say.
Yeah, exactly. And I look forward to it. This is what these Friday casual streams are all about. But I just want to say to people out there, your support so far today and this week has been absolutely incredible. Still 332 people in the house. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button if you are new. The push for 8K is on. Let's see if we can actually get to 8K before the season starts. Do what you have to do. Share it on your socials. Send it to friends, families. Let's see if we can get that done. And guys, feel free to get your super chats in, just like Franco Martini here, and engage with us. Get your thoughts in. We'll have a good conversation on it. Even if you disagree with us, we're not going to do it in a nasty way, belittle you or anything like that. We'll just have a good conversation on it, guys. Plus, it's a great way to skip that chat when it's busy, and it's just a great way to show your support for everything myself and Jack are trying to do here.
Absolutely. Franco Martini saying, I was all in favor of getting Eriksen back initially, but on reflection, if we have a top wingback pairing, we don't need a creative midfielder. Franco, you're onto something that I've sort of, maybe hinted at before, and I think you actually explained it in a very efficient way, which I've always said I'm not very good at, to be fair. I kind of agree with you, where when you really look at Conte's 3-4-3, those 2 midfielders in the middle, the Højbjerg, the Bentancurs, the pivot midfielders, if I've, seen breakdowns of the 3-4-3 in the past of Antonio Conte's, those aren't actually really the true creators in the team. The creativity and kind of, most of the, the danger comes from out wide, comes, from the wide areas. And that's why you have those wingbacks, because those wingbacks can not only do a defensive job, but they can also help pick apart the defense from the wide areas. And what you need from those wingbacks is, like we were saying with Jet Spence, the ability to take it past his man, as well as it being able to put in a really good ball or a really good delivery. Before, we just didn't have that with Emerson. Reguilón was inconsistent. Sassignon a bit inconsistent as well. Doherty seemed to be the only sort of one that sort of maybe matched that, maybe demand that you would ask for a wingback. And when you have actually quality wingbacks like Hakimi, maybe a Nahuel Molina, players like that out there, you actually do get the most out of Conte's 3-4-3, and you probably don't even need a creative midfielder, because you don't exactly, Dave, need to break teams down through the middle. You can break teams down from out wide. In fact, when you look at teams like, I don't know, a good example I always use, Dave, is like a Hungary, who have played a really, really effective deep lying block, or a Burnley who play a really deep, effective low, below block. They actually force you to play out wide. They don't want you to play through the middle. They force you to play out wide. But if you actually have dangerous players out there, Franco, you actually can take that, you can take that, you can basically use that to your advantage. If they want you to play out wide, but if you have dangerous players in those areas, you will punish them. But the problem is for Spurs, we just don't have dangerous players in those wide areas. And in the case of our wingbacks, so that's why Spurs struggled so much.
No, 100%. I fully agree. Look, it's no secret that Conte relies on the wide areas. He wants quality out there. No secret. But look, having a squad nowadays, it's about having the answers for every opposition that throws at you. Having the answers that on any given day, the way teams set up, that you have the players and you have the answers to be able to play around that. Yes, we need a lot more quality out wide, but it would be nice to get in that sort of calm. I know, look, again, I agree with what Franco Martini is saying here. It's nowhere near need a necessity, because of the way he does play out wide. But the likes of Brighton, Brentford, yes, I agree. Your better wing-backs should probably get the ball out wide, get them in. But it is also nice that if someone is good out wide and they're weak through the middle, to have a player that can sit there and just pick them passes, like an Ericsson or someone like that. Look, we need both, Franco Martini. We need both. But ideally, if you're looking at it, what you will say is, yes, get the right wing-back, get the wing-back situation sorted out before you even consider getting in sort of a cam, because that's where you need your creativity for the content system. But it would be nice to have that option.
Nice to have both.
If we need
be nice to have both. And I think what Franco's more or less saying is the reason we struggled against certain teams is because we just pose no threat from out wide. And once we get in good wing backs, you can pose a threat from out there. Big up, Franco. Completely agree, my man. Great talking.
I'm just running to the toilet. I'll be back in one sec, Jacko.
Well, then we're going to get the first guest on, and, I'm going to have a bit of alone time with him until Dave gets back, and we're going to start us off with our man from Tottenham goal, Dermot. How you doing, Dermot?
How are you, Jack? How are you keeping?
Doing okay, my man. Doing very okay. Everything all right, over on the channel? I know you just had, the Keith Birkinshaw, episode. You're playing a bit of FIFA. Everything good with you, my man?
Yeah, everything's good. I'm enjoying the FIFA. I'm starting the career mode tonight or tomorrow, so that's all ready to go. I've got a proper mic now, headset, so I'll be able to talk through why I'm buying this player, why I'm selling Harry Winks for free.
I don't know if you need to explain that part. Maybe you can just mute the mic, for that part. You don't even need to explain it.
I brought him on for about 10, 15 minutes against Palace. We were losing 3-1. I took him off straight away. Conte just sent him to the bus. Just go home. Don't even bother sitting in the changing room. He was on the bus in his kit all the way home. But yeah, things are going good. The Birkinshaw one I really enjoyed. That was a good laugh. And we've got a one on Sunday that is quiz the people of time. Who was better, Pele or Maradona?
There you go.
I have to say Maradona for me. Greatest player ever to leave Argentina. He's one of Ireland's national heroes. The two goals he scored against England, absolutely fantastic. The first one came off the top of his head, didn't touch his hand, and the second one was just pure class. But we'll get into that. It's going to be a bit of fun.
We'll get into some Spurs, my man. I just wanted to, it's good to see you got plenty planned on Tottenham goal, but we're going to start with some Spurs news. And, Tottenham are apparently rivaling West Ham for Jesse Lingard. I don't know. Dave thinks this is just, a bit of, made up, just to maybe force West Ham to pay a bit more. Some people think that maybe Spurs are going after Jesse because he has that homegrown spot. What do you make of that rumor, Dermot? Does it kind of worry you? Does it, maybe, make you a bit angry? Does it annoy you? Do you like Jesse Lingard? Where do you stand?
I actually do like Jesse Lingard. I think he's a decent player. As Dave said earlier, he'd done a decent job at West Ham and was never given the chance when he went back to Man United. So I think he'd be a good squad player. It'd be really good. I'm looking forward to it. And I think it'd be a great signing for us as a squad player. So, yeah, bring it in. I'm buzzing with the transfer window. This is just brilliant for us.
He had a really good season 2 seasons ago, Jesse did, Dermot. And, he really didn't get that opportunity over at Man United when he returned. Do you think, he could actually come into, the next team and, just like he did at West Ham, perhaps, prove a lot of people wrong? Or do you think that maybe that season he had at West Ham was kind of like a one-season wonder sort of situation?
I think he was given a chance to play and he showed what he can really do. And I think if you give him a run in the side, he can do a job for you. Yeah, and he took it and he proved to Man United, look, this is what I can do. So when I go do you a job. And they never did. So, I think if he can come in, do his job for a League Cup or an FA Cup or a league game where we can rest players, that's the thing. We have to have a big squad to rest players. Squad rotation is going to be so crucial next season for when we're going to win everything.
Could not agree more. I could not agree more, Dermot. And look, I asked Jack during the stream as well. Look, it would be nice to have a centre attack.
I think.
Do you think that money we should be spending big money in that position, or do you think we should actually be spending the big money and prioritising other positions and look for something in and around a free or a cheap deal in that position just to get it covered?
Yeah, I didn't get the first bit, Dave, because the internet went out a little bit. I didn't get the first bit of the question.
I was asking Jack earlier, Dermot, basically with that cam position, while we're talking about Jesse Lingard, do you think we should throw money at that position and get in someone of absolute quality? Or do you think that we should hold back in that position, look for a free sign or a cheap option, and use that money to get in quality elsewhere around this team?
I think we could get a cheap option or a free transfer in for that position and then spend it on the defence, get a right wing back or a left wing back. We've got Spence now coming through. So get another left wing back. And I think if we can get another free transfer, he's free anyway, Lingard. So what's it going to cost us? Just wages. We don't have to pay a transfer fee. And I think he's young enough that Conte can mould him into a good player as well, into a better player. But I think our transfer business this summer has been brilliant. It's been well thought out, well executed. And that's the thing. We're doing it properly for once.
What do you think is the biggest changes, Dermot, of this transfer window? Why do you think it's well thought out and executed? What are the biggest changes that maybe you're seeing this window that we have not seen in the past?
I think we've got a director of football that really will put his foot down and a manager that will put his foot down. I mean, he will go to Levy and say, this is what I want. If I don't get it, I'm effing off. And if you look at, I always say it, Man United game, when the fans turned on Levy, that was a biggest turning point in Tottenham's history than a lot of people will take credit for. Because that was the night we turned as a club. Because he realised then, Paratici realised then, we have to do it properly. We can't do it on cheap, on like getting a Nuno in or getting another manager in, another project. This is here and now, and we've got to do it now. We've got to be like Man United, Liverpool, buy the best players for the best positions to take us on to that trophy run that we need at the club. Tottenham are a big club, so we need to act as a big club, and we're acting as a big club. He's got a better scouting network. He stripped it down bare and rebuilt it. And I think it was Jack said, it's not building it for now. He's building it for future generations, for 20, 30 years' time, where we have this in place. And it's going to, when I'm a 70, 80-year-old Spurs fan watching us win another European Cup, it'll be all brought back down to what Paratici and Conte did in 22-23 season.
I love that. You must be speaking to Williams clairvoyance. Just quickly, sorry, Jack, you are on mute. Take yourself off mute. DK, big yourself up, new YouTube member. What an absolute legend. And he put in a lovely comment here as well. And he says, loving the channel, guys. Keep up the fantastic work. Looking forward to watching Spurs this season with all the quality signings we have made. Come on, you Spurs. And yeah, look, we'll be doing watch-alongs for every single game that Tottenham are in next year, even the pre-season fixtures and some under-21s ones as well. So hopefully we can have everybody here joining us for that throughout the season. As you know, you get plenty of singing from me as well, Spurs songs and everything else. But big up, DK. Big
Love
up.
You, DK. New Flat Cap member. No, I was just going to, I think he brought up something, interesting, Dermot. And I was thinking, Paratici, it's not even just what Paratici is doing, Dermot. I feel like some of those signings he's made, in the case of Gretar Steinsson, the guy that he brought over from Rangers as well, maybe we'll even see the impact of those sort of, hirings in 20 to 30 years. Simon Davies, like the homegrown issue that, people are so concerned about. Who knows, Dermot, maybe 10 years from now, like we're just producing Alli skips, like every single 3 years, and, we're having no problem with homegrown issues. And I don't know, I'm actually really excited about, like you just said, the impact of the signings now, but also in the long term, like you just said. Really interesting. I
mean, you look at Man United, what they did in the 80s. They built a brilliant youth academy. You look at the Liverpool sides of the 60s and 70s and early 80s. Bill Shankly put all that, did the foundations back in the 60s for Liverpool. And you see how they were able to capitalise on, like, for Bill Shankly to Bob Paisley to Joe Fagan, championships after cup win after cup win. And that's what Spurs need to do. We have to lay the foundations now for future generations and future managers that they can go off the blueprint. This is how we win stuff. And that will breed success. And then once you win something, as Mickey Hassey said a while on your show, Dave and Jack, that once you win something, you have that winning mentality, you want it more. And this is what we've got. World Cup winners in our squad. We have winners in our team now, and we have to use them and use their experiences, their mentality to bring us on. And we've got a winner as a manager.
Yes.
So what more can you wish for? And I just think this transfer window is an 8 out of 10 for me so far.
Look, I'm not going to bother rating it until the window's done, to be honest with you. But so far, I'll be honest with you, I think so far what we've done is a 10 out of 10. Nobody expected this. Everybody wanted this, and we've done exactly what the fans have asked for. We've brought in players to cover positions that have been neglected over the last few years, and we still have 7 weeks to operate for the rest. I think so far it's been an absolute magnificent window. What do you think of Jed Spence? The rumours are, Dermot, that it's very close to being done. They expect it to be done by this weekend, maybe early next week. I do see some other reports coming out, but the sources aren't so reliable, saying that, look, maybe Spurs are holding out on this because they're looking elsewhere. I know that someone put in a bid for Melina last night. Maybe something like that could happen, but we won't go into that because there's nothing concrete on that. But Dermot, Spence, what's your feelings on it? I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on this.
I am very excited. I am so excited about this young lad. He is a real talent. I watched him a lot last year in the Championship with Nottingham Forest, and he really is a real talent. And with Conte guiding him, I think he's got a best role. He's got a best coming into a best manager that will show him how to do the rest of his career. And I'll tell you one thing, I am so excited. It's like we've finally got it. We finally realised, okay, we are a big club. We have to act like a big club, bring the experience, but bringing in young players like Spence, absolutely brilliant. I am so excited. I'm really chuffed that we've got him and Richarlison. I'm really happy with Richarlison. I am buzzing with that one.
I bet you are, Dermot.
I love him. I loved him at Everton. I think he played at Watford. I think he started his career, didn't he, at Watford? And I love watching him playing for Brazil. When he does play for Brazil, he's just
quality. He's the preferred striker, Dermot. We actually signed the striker that Brazilians prefer, which I think is probably a good indication that the Brazilians prefer Richarlison. I think we signed, the right guy. Because Jesus, then I don't know.
I can go back to Zico and Socrates and Branco. Gorgeous. I can go back to that generation, the Brazilians. They were brilliant to watch. And I know Dave said Roberto Carlos and Ronaldo and the original number 9. But I can go back further to the 80s World Cup, the Brazilian sides in the 80s. They were exciting to watch. And I'm so excited. I am so buzzing. I wish the season start tomorrow. I just feel like a kid on Christmas Eve.
Well, lad, I'll tell you what, it's 12 days to the first preseason game, so come on.
Get ready, Dermot. What do you make of the fact, Dermot, that, Antonio Conte, he's more or less gotten, a left-sided center back. He's gotten a right wing back. He's going to have a striker. He has a new midfielder. He has a left wing back in Perisic. Do you feel like Paratici has, mostly given him the positions that he wanted, going into preseason? Do you think Conte's not going to be throwing a fit, when preseason starts?
I think he's got nearly everything covered. That we need another centre back. Yeah, I think when we get Langley in from Barcelona, which I think is a brilliant bit of business, and I think 12 million? Get him in. What's it? 6 million now, pay loan, and then 6 million to buy him. I think that's a great bit of business. Yeah. I think Conte will be satisfied for what he's got, and then the players he's got.
Because he wanted just new players to experiment with, He wants new players to, work on and develop. He's probably getting a bit sick of, Emerson, probably getting a bit sick of Reguilón, those sort of players. He wants new players to experiment with,
Yeah, well, I've got a new respect for Emerson. He's brilliant on FIFA 22. Always does what you want him to do. He never puts a ball
Maybe
on.
That's what Conte season him, Dermot. Maybe that's what Conte season him.
I've got pure respect for him now. But no, I think Conte will be pretty happy. He'd be rubbing his hands thinking, right, there's a double coming here or a treble coming here.
Absolutely. William Kelly's in the chat, Dermot, and he's just saying it's good to see you back, Dermot. Legend.
Thank you very much, William.
Good to have
You're very kind.
And yeah, Dermot, I think any last things maybe you want to talk about here? I'm just kind of searching up your channel so I can put it up in the chat. So any last things maybe you want to touch on before we let you go, my man? And then you can plug the channel as well.
I don't know how you two think, but I can remember the 80s and how good we were then. I have a feeling in my waters we're going to match the 60 side. I just think we've got an opportunity. We spent 40-something years of living in the shadows of the great Bill Nix 60 side, the Arthur Rose side of the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the Berkshire of the 80s. We have an opportunity to match the Super Spurs. And if we do this correctly, we can supersede what they even done. And I can see us winning another double again. No doubt whatsoever. I can just see it. I feel it that I will see us win a double or a treble. Before Conte leaves, he will win us a treble. And there goes my.
What a tune out. A bit of a mic drop from Dermot there. A bit of a mic drop, everybody. But here's the link to his channel, everybody. Smash that link. Tottenham Gold. Show him the support. He's playing FIFA at the moment. Everybody wants a bit of FIFA over the summer, especially while, the new one is going to be coming out soon. You also have as well, I believe, Keith Birkinshaw. You had a huge episode. And you had, the geniuses of Alli as well as Philip that came on. On top of that, he is actually doing, I think, a few transfer streams as well. Dermot, I was just plugging the channel for you, my man.
Sorry, my phone got so excited it fainted. That's what happened. The phone just passed out at that.
You're all good. You're all good.
Sorry.
What's coming up on your channel? Plug your channel, my man. Give it a plug.
I've got a show on Sunday where we're doing a bit of a transfer, just a bit of a transfer show with Izan, and then we're having the debate Maradona or Pele, who was the best South American World Cup player. We'll put that to bed. I'm going for Maradona, because I think he's a genius, and he never touched the ball with his hand when he scored that first goal against England. Came off the top of his head, but Mark Cousin convinces me he did handle it. So there's a debate there. And then I'm going to do a few more FIFA stuff. Start my career mode over the weekend. Got a mic now, so I'll be able to go through that. And yeah, we've got a few bits and pieces coming up, but we're only sort of we're 58 away from 500. So I would love to get there before the start of the season. For August the 6th. So that's the first milestone. And then we're going to go for the 1,000.
Absolute love it. Absolute love it. Well, guys, let's see if we can get anybody over there and let's crack them on to that 500 subscribers. Dermot, big yourself up for coming on. Really enjoyed having you on, my man. And look, go and get ready for FIFA, lad.
I will. Thank you, lads. And please get these lads to 8K, but 7K, even 8K, because they do deserve it. They put a lot of hard work into those shows. And apart from that, the two decent fellas as well, and brothers of the mothership to my channel, and absolute pleasure to know you, and thanks for having me on.
Big up, Dermot. Too nice, my man. Too nice. We'll see you again soon, brother.
Yeah, I'll see you later. Okay.
Yeah, bye-bye. Absolute legend, everybody.
Show him the love, everybody. Show him the love.
Great to see William saying it was great to see him back as well. Absolutely love that. Big up, William Kelly, by the way. I hope you're keeping well. And Luke, my man. J. Cole says, Jack and Dave, how are you, lads? I am ready to support Conte unconditionally, whoever he brings in. When is that game in Korea? Well, look, first of all, I'm absolutely good, my man. Absolutely buzzing. I mean, look, when Tottenham are doing good, I'm good. I make no secret by saying that. When Tottenham are good, my life is good, And look, it would be nice to see our fan base just jump into the Paratician contract and Conte regime just for next season, just to see how it goes. Look, I get sometimes people are afraid to just go 2 feet into something first. But fuck it. Let's just do it. Let's see where it can take us. You never, ever know. And look, whoever he brings in, and I've said this before, I'm happy. I think no matter who we bring in, I think the homework's been done on them, and I think they're going to be of quality. So I'm happy. I'm happy with whoever they bring in. I trust them. And that game in Korea, I think the first game is actually on the 13th of this month, I believe.
Yeah, there you are, Jay. So get ready, my man. I think what we just say, less than 12 days or something like that, coming up. So
Jay, so it's 12 days.
Wipe, the dust off the TV or the computer, wherever you watch your Spurs games on, my man, because, we are back, baby. And honestly, Jay, there's it's good vibes today, my man. It's a bit of a slow news day on top of the official signing of Richarlison. You have to be buzzed about that, Jay. But, it's kind of a relaxed day, I must be honest. Bit of a slow news day, sort of just kind of, chatting about the deals that are going to be done over the weekend. Maybe just talking about maybe is Antonio Conte, going into this preseason prepared. By the looks of it, he's got some new players to work with, got some new players to experiment with, and that's only good vibes. I feel like Antonio Conte's pretty happy. Antonio Conte's pretty happy. We should all be happy, Jay. Big up, my man, and absolutely supporting him unconditionally. I think we've been doing that since the beginning, to be fair, because we knew that if any chance Spurs had at winning a trophy and any chance Spurs had at changing things around quickly, it was going to be Antonio Conte. So we sort of had to support him unconditionally. Completely agree, Jay. Love it. Absolutely spot on.
And look, hopefully it's a season where we're not debating whether Paraticis are done or not. Hopefully we're sitting there, talking about good results after good results. And can we actually win the league? Hopefully we're debating about that, my man. But big up, Jay. Absolute legend. Really appreciate the support, brother. And I hope you're doing good. It was nice of you to ask us how we are. And I hope you're doing good, brother. Big yourself up.
Big up, Jay. And hopefully you're keeping well today, this weekend. Hopefully you're keeping well on a Friday. But we're going to move on to our next guest of this morning or of this afternoon. We're going to bring on Daddy Højbjerg, and hopefully he has some good things to say about the Richarlison signing. I think he even put in the chat earlier that he was very, very excited about it, or he might even put it in my own channel that he was excited about it. Daniel Larson, how you doing, my man? And you put on my Flat Cap channel the other day that you're very excited about Richarlison. Daniel, tell me about it. What is the pigeon celebration tell you? Are you excited about Richarlison?
I think this is exactly the type of attacking play we need. A bit of edge, nastiness. Yeah.
He's coming on
quality,
angry.
Hard working. Yeah, I think he's gonna, and also he's gonna keep the three goats on their toes.
Yeah, actually, they need some. They need some. They need quality to challenge them. You're absolutely right, my man. What have you made of the fact that Romero and Richarlison are on the same team? I think originally they had a bit of a rivalry between the two players. When they meet at preseason training, when they meet on the training ground, how do you think that interaction is going to go? Are they just going to show mutual respect? They're just going to be like, finally we get to be on the same team. Is there going to be a little something in between the guys? How do you see that interaction going? Romero and Richarlison.
No, I think it's just football. It's just they played on different teams, and it's going to be like Messi and Ramos.
Probably when they slap hands, you might even hear it around the world. Maybe when they slap hands. Thunder.
No, it's going to be completely fine.
Do you feel like Richarlison, is he better as a winger? Is he better as a striker? Where would you? What do you think? Because I feel like he's better as a striker, if you ask me.
I think it's better, but definitely on striker or the left. I think that's those two is his best position. That's where he gets the best out of him. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, Richarlison, he's going to be a very good sign. I love the shithousery, And again, do you know what it is? It's like, look, last season we couldn't get the ball out wide and get balls into the box. You can do that now with Perisic, and you have someone like Richarlison who, in my opinion, I think he's actually very good at going and attacking that ball when it's put in. That's what he was kind of like. A lot of his bread and butter was off Everton at times, and I can't wait to see that. I cannot wait to see that.
Yeah, he's very good at attacking. Like, he's very good finding spaces. He's an amazing header of the ball as well. Absolutely fantastic.
That he is. Yeah, that he is. Look, I think you'll agree, Daniel. It's one that gives us a hard on, my man. In a minute, we'll end up having a jerking circle or something like that. But look, when it comes to Jesse Lingard, my man, I mean, look, what's your thoughts on Jesse Lingard?
No, thank you.
Pass, big pass.
Yeah, pass that. No, not for me. I think he just needs a mid-table club he can be good at, and that's it.
Well, look, you mentioned Jacob Ramsey.
Yeah.
I mean, explain, my man. Tell me.
Yeah, I just thought I really rate him, and I thought about the homegrown. But you said, David, that it doesn't really matter. So you just put that aside now. But I do rate him. But
I think he's had a good season. He's had good games from what I've seen, especially against bigger opponents. He's had good games, like against the big teams.
He was very good against us as well.
Yeah, maybe in that first or the second game. I think you mean probably. I think probably the first.
The second.
Game, I think he was actually, the second.
When they were all over.
When they will all. Yeah.
Good point, my man. Good point. With Jesse Lingard, though, For me, Daniel, I feel like he just doesn't break down teams in the way that we would want him to, like an Eriksson would. Like Eriksson, really breaks down teams, picks teams apart. My big issue with Lingard is he doesn't really strike me as that sort of player that, is picking, passes out, unlocking a defense, which is the reason why I wouldn't go after him.
Yeah, he's kind of like what Dele was, just good at those late runs into the box.
Like clever movement, but not really, pass.
Not really creative, I would say.
That's a good point, actually.
But again,
he is a bit of a goal scorer, to be fair. Like Jesse does pop up with, I feel like, more goals than he does probably assists. So you actually might be onto something there. Yeah. If you were to go after a creative midfielder, do you think we're going to go after something really cheap? Do you think we're going to go after something a bit on that expensive side? Because by the looks of it, we're going after free signings, really cheap creative midfielders.
Yeah, it's hard now. So our only signings now, money signings, is Richarlison and Bissouma. So that's 60, 20. My maths now.
I think it's about 90 million. It's close to about 90 million.
Yeah. So 150. Who knows, really? I mean, you can still get a decent player for cheap if we need, but it's so hard. We haven't been linked to anyone, so I can't really see it right now.
And we don't know how much that creative midfielder will play. We don't even know how much that midfielder would play.
Yeah. Look, I think I'll be honest. Look, I think most players that come into this club, they will get games. Look, people said the same about Jota. They said the same about Diaz when Liverpool went inside them. Where are they going to play? Where are they going to fit in? They play more than enough games for them. And I think we have to get kind of used to that there's going to be loads of cup games. There's going to be some league games where we have big Champions League games at the weekend where you can bring these guys in, or during the week where you can bring these guys in and play on the weekend if you want to rest players. So there will be plenty of opportunities available for anybody that comes in here. And look, the reason why I keep stressing that is because Conte has stressed it. It's the first thing Conte stressed when he walked into Tottenham. There's no backup positions here. There's no an A-B squads like under Nuno. It's competition. We're a squad. Everybody has the part to play. And that's why Conte wants to bring in these big name signings, even though some of them will not start because it's a team game. Everyone plays the part. You look at Origi. I mean, the guy went off celebrating the league title with Liverpool when they won it, done fuck all, but he came on last minute and scored a winner against Everton. You know what I mean? Some of these players can have their moments throughout the season. And that's why it's called a squad, because even some of the players that may not necessarily be the best or get the most game times, they would have contributed somewhere along the line.
Yeah, exactly. Squad depth.
You want him to come on ready too, right? You want those subs to come on ready, Daniel. And Richarlison, you were saying, I think you were hinting at that, like he's not going to be, moping around on the bench. Like when Antonio Conte motions for him, he probably already has the shin pads on. He already has the boots on. He's just, he doesn't even need, time to get ready. He's itching to go. And that's what you want as well.
Yeah. He's extremely hungry player as well,
Exactly.
He's going to work extremely hard. He wants to, be on the starting 11. And there's no words there.
You seem excited, my man. And what do you make of the fact that now Højbjerg, is probably going to be one of the nicer, kind of players in this team? We have, Romero, Richarlison, we're getting more shithouses, in this team. It's almost like Højbjerg's going to become one of the nice guys, by the looks of it, Daniel. Honestly, crazy. We're going to become the most hated team in the league.
I'm all here for it. I would love that. I love it. I love to piss off other teams. That gets me.
You don't want to be liked. You don't want to be liked.
No, fuck that. What's the point of that?
Being like
that makes it better when. That makes it better when we actually win. A trophy.
Right. Everybody wants you to lose, and then you win. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Good point, my man. Very, very good point. And I completely agree. It looks like Conte really is changing, the attitude, around the squad at this moment in time. You're absolutely spot on. Spurs, though, Daniel, like you were saying, we've only spent money on 2 different players, but Spurs are technically the biggest spenders right now in, the Premier League. I mean, did you anticipate this happening? I know we had a big window lined up, but we are so far the biggest spenders. Did you actually see that happening, where Spurs would be spending more than Liverpool, spending more than Arsenal, spending more than Chelsea? It's crazy.
Yeah, not really. I did not expect that to be the biggest, but that's just Conte for you, that's his pull and
getting what he wants
and power. Yeah. So, and also I remember when after we signed Bissouma, people like some of the fan base were moping and what's going on? Why won't you sign anyone? Like, you keep you calm. It's just so early still in the transfer window. Why?
I think Man United haven't even made their first signing yet. Man United haven't even made their first signing, and they have a new manager through the door as well. And preseason is starting for them too.
Yeah, I mean, who designed that PS Feyenoord player?
Still haven't even got that over the line, I don't believe.
Yeah, still haven't even got it over the line, Daniel. It's a left back.
I mean,
to be
Ten Hag is going to sign all the Eredivisie players.
Yeah.
That's all.
We'll see which ones flop. I'll tell you that, because sometimes they don't really do transition too well over to the Premier League. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
Daniel.
Yes.
But what would you say is maybe your favorite signing of the window, my man? Has it been Basuma? Is it Richarlison? I'm assuming, or Perisic? Which one is your favorite so far? Which one is the one that, like David said, was the one that you just woke up one day and were just like, wow, today's a good day?
Oh, wow. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. No, it could be any one of those. But
you don't have a strong opinion? You don't have a strong opinion? No. Richarlison wasn't the one that woke you up, just one day like, oh my gosh, I'm breathing this Richarlison air.
No, everyone, all of it is fantastic and all excites me in their own ways. I mean, Perisic is going to be fantastic. I just need to remind, like, Perisic, that's amazing. So, it is amazing.
No, Perisic, it'd be good. But look, Daniel, thank you very much for coming on, my man. And look, we'll see you again on the next one.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me. And
come on, you first before we let you go.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations on 7K as well.
Thank you, brother.
You deserve it, and hopefully to infinity and beyond.
Hopefully it can keep going. Look, I never thought I'd get it to 5K, let alone at 7K. You know what I mean? So everything now is just a bonus. Let's see how much further we can push it. I doubt we'll push it much further, but let's wait and see, my man.
Yeah, you just have to wait and see. But
and look,
definitely.
This channel doesn't grow without Spurs fans, without people like yourself, Daniel, and everyone else out there who comes into the comments, contributes, comes on screen, contributes. It's absolutely nothing without every single one of you guys out there. So thank you as well, my man.
Spot on.
You deserve it, so don't worry about that. You always can have my support.
Love you, Daniel.
Yeah.
Speak to you soon.
You too.
Speak to you soon.
See you again soon, brother. We'll see you again, my man.
Come on, you Spurs. Daniel some love. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, my man. Show him some love in the chat, everybody. Show Daniel love. Daddy Hoiberg, show him the love. Daddy Hoiberg, show him the love, everybody. And I think we might be wrapping up, actually, with our last guest. Like I said, very chill vibes today, like David and I kind of predicted. We're just chatting about, the signing we just made. So I would say, everybody, this is going to be the last guest of, this afternoon. And we're just going to let you go off and enjoy your Fridays, everybody. And we're going to end it off like I think we normally kind of have with our man out in Freiburg. It is Rufus, rough cut, yet again.
Hey, how you doing? I try to get the light up. I just me again.
First of all, just Rufus, quickly. We are Tottenham TV. I've always wanted you to do this. Just put in the comments saying, we are Tottenham TV, endorse the Irish Hotspur. That'd be absolutely brilliant. Just put that in the comments. Big up, Benji.
I always say smash the like, because the likes are never anywhere comparable to how many people are viewing, and it doesn't cost anything. Smash them like,
Rufus, my man. Love that, Rufus.
You tell him, Rufus. You tell him. Look, how are you keeping him on? I mean, look, first of all, we'll get your thoughts on Richarlison. I mean, look, he's one that split the fan base. Some were preferring Rafinha over Richarlison. Some are maybe a bit unhappy with the price tag. What's your thoughts on the whole deal?
I'm buzzing about it, to tell the truth. And the price tag, Everton fans are saying we didn't pay enough. Tottenham fans are saying we paid too much. So probably about the right price, I'd say.
Yeah.
And also strikers are going pretty expensive these days, right, Rufus? Like, I've
had so many comments this week about how few strikers there are available at the moment. And the ones that are available are really big money. Apart from Jesus, and he couldn't even get a starting spot at City, and they didn't even have a striker. So I'm just buzzing about Arsenal this week. Well,
yeah. Look, they've got done over. They don't see it yet. Poor Mikes. I mean, I feel sorry for them because I know what's coming down the road. They'll be sitting there screaming, crying. Why didn't we get Richarlison? Probably even come and ask us for a loan deal. Look, they got absolutely mugged off, Rufus. They just don't see it yet.
I tell you what, I had to live. I said to Jack the other day, I had to live through a time in the 90s where I started working for a guy, and he was a gooner, and they started under Wenger, and I had all them years, the unbeatables and that, and Tottenham were in a bad place. It was rough times, but now. Hey,
do you feel like that's what, if you were to work alongside a gooner right now, Rufus, do you feel like, he's going through those bad years that you did right now? Do you think, he would be in torture?
I would give him exactly the hard times I had back then. I would be rubbing his nose in it all day long. I mean, and then the Richarlison, they thought they were getting Richarlison. I saw so many, I've got a couple of mates on Facebook that are Arsenal fans, unfortunately. And they were posting, yeah, Rafinha. And it was so nice to see him get poached. I smiled my head off. But I just can't keep up at the moment. Dom Paratici, I mean, I work 8 hours a day. I don't know how many hours he works. I go to bed and we've got one news. I go to work in the morning. I can't really keep up all day because, I'm actually busy doing the job. And then I come home from work and the world's turned upside down, and we're after this player. We've signed him. He's getting a medical. He's going to be done by the end of the week. It's Paratici.
No, it definitely is.
Don, he's cooking. And do you feel like, he...
Fans, we need transfers. Paratici, keep my espresso warm.
You feel like Conte's happy, probably, Rufus, right? I feel like Conte's going into preseason. He's like, "Whoa, I have 6 players, 6 new faces." In the training ground, he's probably quite shocked that all these new guys are in the building.
He must be absolutely buzzing. I am. He must be too, and the players must be buzzing that are coming in as well. I mean, he's a world-class manager, a completely world-class manager, and he improves players. I mean, we were talking about Lingard earlier. Yeah, I'm not really interested on one side, but on the other side, he turns players around. I mean, there's players we wanted to get rid of, like Doherty. He didn't have a chance at Christmas. We all wanted him shot in January. Now we don't want to lose him. So if he can turn players around like that, how could he? What would Lingard become underneath Conte?
Look, I think Lingard is definitely a risk, but I think he'll also be a player that'll be hungry to prove a point. We have to remember, this guy got called up before the Euros, got dropped for the Euros. He got himself back into the England team at West Ham, then got dropped for the Euros. There's a World Cup round the corner. You best believe for them first few months before that World Cup, he has aims of getting back into that England squad, and he'll be raring to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'd be raring to go, and maybe if he wants to break into the England squad in time for the World Cup, it might be a bit tight because he might not always get the start.
Yeah.
I don't feel like he breaks down teams either, Rufus. Like when we saw him at West Ham, he was more of like a counter-attacking, kind of player. Like I feel like, he was leading those David Moyes counterattacks. And is he really going to do that for Spurs? I don't really see that happening. I think he'd be... it's just like his skill assets. I don't really see, he's not going to help us. Like what he can do well, I don't see us helping, with.
And it's exactly what you say. I'm torn because on one side, I don't really want him. On the other side, if Conte wants him, then obviously he sees something in there, and I trust Conte.
Yeah. Look,
if it's not a Levy saying, "Oh, I get a homegrown player on the cheap for a free," and it really is Conte that wants him, then I'm all for it because obviously Conte thinks he can do something with Lingard.
Look, even if it is someone that's brought in on the cheap, free, or someone that's brought in on the cheap to cover that position, I don't mind because I want the big money spent at the back. There's no point of having a fucking, Ferrari up the front and then a Nissan Micra at the back that's liable of a breakdown every now and again. It's just, that's why I want to save the money for spending at the back. But, I mean, what do you make of Tottenham being the biggest spenders so far this summer? I've just realised I spent biggest wrong as well. My bad, everybody. I apologise.
I mean, it's amazing. Who would have ever thought it? And this brings me back to a show I watched in the week on We Are Tottenham TV with 2 of your regular guests, Danny and Sean, having a right old battle about rating the transfer window so far. And I was already on an 8 out of 10, and Danny was on a 4 out of 10. I was like,
sounds like you wouldn't have done so well in that panel then, Rufus. They wouldn't have liked your rating over there. Why is it an 8 out of 10 for you, my man? Why is it an 8 out of 10? Why are you buzzing? Why are you so happy?
Because me and Dave, Mr. Harris there and me, we both agreed back in January, for us, it was a 10 out of 10 window. We got rid of some Deadwood. It didn't matter if it wasn't permanently, but we got them off the wages bill for the rest of the season, which enabled us to bring in more players and players that wanted to play. And everybody was like, Bendikar, Kulusevski. They're cult heroes now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's saying, Bissouma's a great signing, but it's not that marquee signing. I disagree. I mean, he's one of the best midfielders awesome in the Premier League. Player, and if his contract had been a year longer, we'd have paid 50, 60.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And in fact, I actually am surprised Brighton didn't, settle up earlier. Maybe it was because of the court case or something that they actually couldn't. So we sort of, did our due diligence, maybe a bit similar to a Frank Lampard, and actually, were able to, find out, if he's actually available to us. But I actually agree with you, Rufus, that, when we got rid of those players in January, we got rid of them, to get them off the wage bill, bring other players in, but it was also to kind of get them out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have to look at Gio anymore. We didn't have to look at Dele Alli anymore. We didn't have to, look at these players that had been causing us so many problems, throughout the season. They were just out of sight, away from Conte, and that probably helped the squad morale.
I think Levy actually expected the loans to work out a bit better, which might have been why he injected the 150, because he was like, they're not off the books.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I've no doubt Tottenham, look, we had no use for them. Nobody was going to lay the cash out for them in January. So the only option we had was to loan them out and do the sort of deal we'd done for Dele Alli. Just didn't work out. It didn't work out, but that's down to the player, nothing to do with the club. We're doing everything we can to try and recuperate a fee. But these players just don't want to perform. They've lost the way, they've lost the mojo, sitting there on big money, and unfortunately the work ethic is gone. And that's on them, nobody else.
If Conte can't get a tune out of them, nobody will, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You're trying to sell a player, and you're saying, like, one of the world's best managers couldn't even get a game out of him, so...
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Rufus, actually,
for him.
Longley, that new, left-sided center back, we're getting a left-sided center back on loan. I actually heard someone today, Rufus, say to me that if Conte did so well with Ben Davies at left-sided center back, why should we doubt Longley, doing well in that position either? Because Ben Davies was seen as one of the most worst players in the entire squad before Conte came. Everybody wanted him gone. And then Conte turned him into one of the best center backs in the league that season. All of a sudden, I feel like he could do the same with Longley, despite people not rating him. It seems like he could do the same because he could turn Ben Davies around. Surely he can turn Longley around.
It's one of your guests this week, Sean. I managed to catch him on another channel. I can't remember which channel. And he had all the statistics of all of our targets.
I was on Tottenham TV.
Yeah. And of all of our targets. And Longley was up there in first or second place in all the stats, apart from in the air.
Yeah.
That seemed to be his only weakness. And I actually heard a comment somewhere else, and I've been thinking about it. He can also cover for Dyer.
Ideally, hopefully. I'm not sure. I think we're going to maybe get another center back, actually.
If Dyer's injured, he's somebody that could step into that position. Maybe it wouldn't be our first choice for him, but he's intelligent enough to go into that position, I feel.
Okay. I like
that.
And I think Conte can get a tune out of him.
Look, I have no doubt that Conte will absolutely show him the love, to be honest with you. I think that's all Langley needs. I mean, we've seen them Spanish fans turn on Gareth Bale. Look how much of a hard time they give him and what he done for that club, Real Madrid. So, look, for me, I think Langley, get him in. I mean, look, obviously he's not a first choice, but at the end of the day, if you can't get your first choice, you need to bring somebody in here. And he's probably the next best. I think just in the middle, I'm not sure it'll work out for him, because in the middle, I would like someone that's good in the air. Langley, maybe not so great in the air, but look, time will tell, Rufus. Time will tell, my man. Jack, you any more questions for Rufus?
Rufus, we are going to probably sign another center back, on top of the Longley, sort of signing. Anybody out there that, if you've taken a liking to, would you want us to sign like a big, powerful center back? Do you want us to sign? Oh, hopefully he comes back here in just a sec. Still there, Rufus? Oh, well, hopefully he comes back at some stage. But I was going to say is that, Rufus, if you are still able to listen, I think we should go after still a big, powerful center back that can actually win headers, actually be more of a physical presence. Someone like a Gleison Bremer fits that bill. And Ndika over at Frankfurt, I think, fits that bill as well. I'd like us to go after maybe a bigger, taller sort of center back. Rufus, if you're still able to hear us, my man, maybe just try to jump out of the StreamYard, maybe jump back in if you can. We're just going to give you a moment. No need to rush you or anything. Yeah. That looks like he maybe lost connection with the internet. Maybe he lost connection with the internet.
Plug the flat cap way. We'll give Rufus until you've plugged the flat cap, and then if not, then we'll end off.
Alrighty. Everybody, check out the Flat Cap channel, of course, because there has been a Richarlison scout report as well as a Longley scout report. Please, please, please check them out, everybody. With Richarlison, I essentially just explain and break down a lot of the stats that probably some people are pretty concerned with, stats that some people don't want to read anything into. I just provide context to a lot of it because I know, when it comes to stats, if you kind of just use them out of context, you don't really know what you're actually looking into. You feel like, it doesn't tell the whole story. So essentially those sort of scout reports are kind of just giving my personal opinion on the players, as well as using a bit of stats to maybe sort of explain what that sort of player brings to Spurs. I add a lot of context to it as well. Just give my own personal opinions. No, it isn't just a full breakdown or anything. I think you really will enjoy it, especially the Clement Longley one. I think you guys would really enjoy because I do kind of give my logic as to why maybe Spurs have gone for that sort of signing instead of maybe someone that we probably would have preferred ahead of him. So I do feel like you guys should check it out because you're welcome to disagree with me. And you're also, I feel like, going to learn something about Longley or Richarlison as well. So check those out, please.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it myself, Jack. I'm looking forward to it myself. Everybody, get over there, smash that subscribe button on the Flat Cap Euro Talk. Jack's been putting out incredible breakdowns right throughout. Yes, we've got him back. Let's get him in. Rufus, my man. Oh, you're on mute, lad. Take yourself off mute.
Yeah, sorry, my battery went flat. I was on the balcony. And
good,
out there getting in the sun rays, my man. No harm in it whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm a bit darker than you, and I'm English, so.
Rufus, we were just going to ask you like one or two more questions, my man. And, the other one that we were going to ask was, the fact that we're signing another center back. Does that make you happy? I think Matt Hayes has sort of, confirmed it. Other sources like Alli Gold, who we all definitely trust, has reported that Spurs are still going to look for another center back. Does that maybe ease any tension that you might have had? Because I feel like that's exactly what we need is someone to compete with Dyer, someone to compete with Davies.
I think we're going to get at least another 2 or 3 signings in. I just feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
But I mean, the 150 million everybody hangs on the whole time. That's not even including what we had to spend already, plus outgoing players. I think we're in a healthy place. Even if what did you say yesterday? 100 million's been transferred over so far.
Yeah.
So 50 million still in the bank. We got money that we would have been spending anyway. Liverpool, second place, and look how many players we got in comparison and how much quality we've brought into the side. I mean, we're not only the biggest spenders, we're being very intelligent about what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think with Richarlison now, we've sorted the front out, and I would agree with you. Now we can work on the back. And I would be surprised. I think we might bring in a creative midfielder if we can, and the rest of the money, anybody else we bring in, is all going to be around the back. Jed Spence, obviously.
What do you make of Jed Spence?
I'm excited. I didn't know much about him, but I've watched a bit about him, and it was the thing that you said about he's always had to work hard wherever he's gone. He's always been written off.
Yeah.
And anybody that's been written off everywhere they go and then has come back to prove their doubters wrong, I've got to have a bit of respect for that. And yeah, it could work out. Nobody knows how it's going to work out. We don't have crystal balls. But
and the thing is, Rufus, with the hard work, 9 times out of 10, you get a player that he's a good attitude because of that. Because he's always been written off, he always thinks he has to work harder than everybody else. And that will, having that right attitude, he will make a player of himself. He's just got to continue on that path. I just hope that if we do get him in, he doesn't sit there and think, oh, finally I've made it, I can ease off now. Because what he needs to realize is that when he gets to Tottenham, he needs to work double as hard as he was to even forge a career for himself. We have to remember it was only a year ago where nobody knew who this guy was. Nobody knew who he was, and he's had a dramatic rise. And hopefully, long may it continue.
There was times in my life I had tough times, and I learned you had to work hard for everything you want. And I've done amazing things. I've got like a vintage car, an old Volkswagen, and stuff like that. And I've had to really work for everything I've had. And I hope that because he's got that ethic already, it's not something he's going to lose. But
it comes to a natural stage thinking that way.
It's he's a young lad, and he's not fully developed yet as a human being, not just as a football player. We all know how we were when we were growing up. We all made mistakes and failures and stuff like that. And but I think he's got a good manager to keep him on the right track. And,
definitely. It's also less of a risk, I feel like, Rufus, than the Jack Clark signing. I think that cost around the same amount. The Joe Rodon signing cost around the same amount. Matt Doherty came in for like a similar fee as well. I feel like when you sort of look at it, if you ask me, I don't know. Jet Spence seems to be not as much of a risk if you look at sort of the players we brought from the championship in the past.
I mean, I actually think we could get Jet Spence, and then we'll keep Emerson, and then we've got Doherty as well, and we're sort of well covered on the right. Probably not to the quality as some fans would want, but we can't just. I mean, it was nice with Richarlison that we had a bid turned down. Another club started sniffing around, and then we just killed it. That's not Tottenham. That's just really not Tottenham. That's not Daniel Levy. Okay, then we'll bump it up and we'll close the deal. That's just not Levy. I mean, it's amazing.
It's actually amazing that we actually are getting this deal done by the looks of it, because normally when we see Daniel Levy has taken part in the negotiations, you can sort of kiss the deal goodbye, in a lot of situations. So it's actually nice that it seems like we have reached a conclusion, and perhaps we are getting him for a much cheaper fee, Rufus. And I think the big feeling was Middlesbrough, they wanted like £20 million, £25 million, something like that. But it looks like maybe Spurs are going to pay around 15 million plus add-ons, which sort of suggests that we would pay more if he plays really well, for Spurs. So I think that's a win-win situation for us. We can end up paying more money if he succeeds.
The Dons just doing amazing deals at the moment because, you say we paid 50 with add-ons for Richarlison, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
And then we get Jed Spence for 15 and Langley on a loan.
Yeah. And also the Kulusevski had a lot of add-ons too. Like the Kulusevski one, if I recall, was like, if he gets us top 4, there are add-ons attached, But what I actually like about these transfers, Rufus, is I guess for the most part, they've all kind of worked out. But if they didn't work out, you sort of maybe are saving 10, 15 million sometimes because he's, doing these kind of performance incentives, attached to the transfer where it's like, the player as well as the club and the agents get more money if the player plays well.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes when we see a player go for less than we paid for him, we forget about stuff like that because we actually always remember the fee with the add-ons.
Uh-huh.
So we'll always remember, Richarlison 60. But it doesn't mean we ever paid 60 for him. Maybe we only did pay the original 50. Maybe that's a bad comparison. But, with some of the other players, we paid so much for them, but they never achieved the add-ons.
Uh-huh.
So we didn't really pay that much for them. But we always remember what the press said, which is like, 20 million plus 10 million and add-ons. So we always have 30 in our heads. And when we let them go for 20, we say, we lost 10 million. But did we actually meet the add-ons?
Apparently, I think, we have, included the add-ons, but just, a bit of news from, William Jr. in the chat saying Arsenal new signing Vieira is already injured before playing a single game.
Come on, you Spurs.
What do you make of that, my man? Because they basically have spent, what is it? I think it's around like 70 million or something like that for Jesus as well as Vieira. Jesus is a striker that doesn't want to play striker, and Vieira, I don't know, like he seems like a real talent, but if you ask me, Rufus, all of a sudden everybody's become an expert on the player, when probably they've never seen him in their entire lives.
I never knew anything about Vieira. I don't really.
I didn't either, to be fair, Rufus, and that's kind of saying something too. I didn't even know very much about the kid, before, I'd heard the name, I think from FIFA or something like that, but that was about it. So to see that, they had signed, that sort of player for that much, it's quite shocking. He's injured before a game has even started as well. It's exactly what we want to be hearing. What we want to be hearing.
I'm not sold on Jesus as a good player. So he didn't really cut it at City, and it seems like Arteta's been offloaded average player by his ex-boss. I'm happy about that. No, he couldn't really get a game at City, could he? No, he wasn't like major at City, and he's got amazing players around him there.
Yeah. No, that's actually a good point. That is a good point. He has basically the most chances probably out of any striker would in Europe. He has some of the best teammates to feed him, out of any player in Europe does. He has one of the best managers, to create chances for him, and he still couldn't score more than Richarlison.
I don't play FIFA much anymore, but if I did, most of the players in City's team are the players that I would buy in FIFA.
What do you make of the fact that Jesus, he is going to he's going to like a B Tech Man City, Rufus, because Mikel Arteta is sort of creating, the B version of Man City. Jesus, he did okay with the original Man City. I don't see him doing better with a worse Man City, like a B Tech.
He's not going to get the same quality of ball, is he?
No. Or even the same quality of manager to help him out. Exactly.
And I'm happy that the Lego man went for him, because it's not a signing that fears me like Richarlison does. We're going to be awesomely strong next season. People are going to fear playing us. From Romero, Basuma, Perisic.
They've also taken back their word on Richarlison. You can find a lot of clips of them, Rufus, saying that they wanted Richarlison over Jesus, and now all of a sudden the narrative has changed. The script has changed. All of a sudden they said they wanted Jesus the whole time. Even Jack Wheelchair, just today just said, he's actually not someone that he could see starting in Arsenal's 11. He doesn't even think Richarlison would start ahead of Kit Kat.
Look, Richarlison's been hitting double figures in poor teams.
Yeah, really poor teams, in fact. Probably some of those.
He's been hitting double figures and making a star of himself in the leagues that he's played in poor teams. And now you're putting him in a good team with a good manager, surrounded by lots of talent. He's going to come alive, I think. I was thinking about this earlier, when Mr. Harris was talking about the starting 11 and stuff. I think there's be certain games, not that are cup games, so we'll start Richarlison over Kane.
Yeah.
Maybe Burnley got relegated, but a game like Burnley last season, we might not even start Kane for that game. Not because we fear them or anything like that. It's just it's a better answer to it. It'll break them down better.
No, I completely agree. Rufus, by the looks of it, it seems like Dave, he might be stuck, certain somewhere, he had to shut off. And it looks like, he's not doing too well. I wanted him to come back and, be able to ask you one last question, but it looks like I've drained all the questions, away from him. So Rufus, I feel like I have to let you go. What's on your mind?
It was nice to meet you with my son the other night, and you were commenting on our haircuts, and he's got the mullet, and looks like he's got a cat sleeping on his head. And you said, I got a mohawk. I don't actually have a mohawk. It's male pattern baldness. As my son said, I'm sponsored by McDonald's.
That's actually a good one. Actually, I like your hair. I like how you've done that, Rufus, because it does look like a mohawk, and that's actually very deceiving. It's maybe because you're very tall, probably, I reckon.
Yeah. Not many people get to see the top of my head.
Yeah, they never get to see it. So, it's an illusion. It's an illusion. But Rufus, any last Spurs things on your mind before I maybe let you go here, or should we see you Monday for the next
season? It's just I'm just so excited about it. I'm excited about the preseason. I'm just excited about the whole thing. I just want to get Conte working with the new players. I think we'll get more in, maybe not before Korea. We'll get a couple more in before Korea, I feel, and maybe a couple after. I don't think Bastoni or Gvardiol or anything like that's a dead deal yet.
Mm-hmm. Some people are saying, it's still on the cards, and, that is kind of an interesting. I feel like Gvardiol is off the cards. Bastoni, potentially more of a chance that you could get him. I don't see that happening either, though. But if anything, if you ask me, Rufus, I think we're actually going to be going after Gavardiol in the future. It seems like maybe someone will hold out on for because he'll have a release clause. Maybe won't have to pay as much. Technically, some people think he's even more talented than a Bastoni is. So I have an odd feeling that Spurs actually are perhaps holding out on a Gavardiol sort of player.
I mean, let's just see how Inter are doing financially. Maybe they have to do something before the end of the window, and we're in first place because we got money and we've got the contacts there. Yeah. I'd say it's 50-50. It's not Bastoni's not a player I'm holding my hopes out for anymore, but it's one of those ones that could just happen. Yeah. You go to bed at night, you wake up in the morning, and the Don's done something, and
hopefully he greets us with even more gifts, even more presents, Rufus. Absolutely, my man.
I want to know how much coffee that man drinks.
I think he doesn't sleep by the looks of it. Apparently he doesn't even sleep, Rufus. So probably more than just coffee. Maybe has a little bit of extra, on top of it. But Rufus,
who would you like as a center midfield?
I don't think we need another central midfielder unless you're talking about creative midfielder.
Sorry. Central defender. Who are you going to?
I kind of want Ndika, actually, my man. I really like Ndika, the Frankfurt guy, because he's big, tall, strong. He's decent in the air, pretty decent on the ball as well. He played as a left-sided center back for Frankfurt, but I feel like he could play through the middle if you needed him to because he's so massive. I kind of like Ndika, if you ask me, the Frankfurter.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that as well. I'd probably definitely go with that as well.
Alrighty. Love that, my man. Well, Rufus, I'm going to let you go, my man, and we're going to wrap up the show over here. And I appreciate, kind of ending us off like you usually do on these Fridays. You end us off in good vibes, Rufus.
I mean, the Monday show is always a killer for me because I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, which is 5 o'clock in Ireland, and then I work an 8-9 hour day and I come home and the show's quite late. On Monday, I had a couple of beers. People thought I was a bit drunk, but I was actually really tired. I fell asleep as soon as I got offline.
That's what happens on Fridays, man. You just got to cool down. You just got to, let the week, just kind of unwind. Absolutely.
On a Monday, I always have a lads' night with my sons. We do drink a couple of beers, but I was actually more tired than drunk. I just, as soon as I was off camera, I fell asleep. I was gone for the night. But,
maybe I might do something similar after this, Rufus. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday, my man. Thank you for coming on, as always. And come on, you Spurs. Big up, Rufus. Juicy. Bye, Rufus. Bye. Everybody, big up Rufus in the comments. Our big man out in Freiburg, the big Spurs man out in Germany. Everybody show Rufus the love. He always wraps up these Friday shows brilliantly. Hopefully he enjoys the rest of his weekend. I wish you all, the rest of your weekend well. Everybody just relax, enjoy these signings. Just, you can think about Spurs. No reason to be stressed about Spurs. All good vibes, everybody. All good vibes. David looks like, he just can't be able to make it back in time. I tried to, delay as much as I could, but I think we're just going to, end it off right here, everybody. So do appreciate you all for tuning in. Massive thank you to everybody who's thrown in their comments, hit that like button, as well as thrown in the super chats. Super chats are a great way to support the channel. Thank you very much, Ribsy, as well, for donating all of those memberships to people. You feel free to do that as well, people. I will try to check up on that, see if others have, but really appreciate all the support today, Harris Army. I think we will be back tomorrow with another show of some kind, probably some sort of debate or panel show, if I'm going to guess. But everybody, do stay tuned. Hit that notification bell to never miss another episode of the Irish Hotspur. But as always, everybody, come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust, and I will be seeing ya.